Welcome back to another UCL Fantasy deadline stream, this time out of match day 8, should I say. We have all the lineups at the same time, 18 matches all going on. There's a lot of rotation, a lot of different lineups to cover, and everything will be answered in this deadline stream. I've had a few technical issues to say the least throughout the entire day. Maybe towards the end I'll ask some of you for maybe some tips and stuff. So hopefully everything runs smoothly, but let's get straight into this and just answer all your questions and comments, talk about the best captains and the players to bring in. But ultimately, we should be waiting for the lineups and then make an informed opinion. We do have one already for Real Madrid, so we'll talk about that very soon and also delve into your questions. Thank you to John for the super chat, a great way to start things off. Thanks, Dylan. Keep the awesome content and great forum rolling. I appreciate it. And you've got a question in here. Start Cubarsí or Gabriel? I'd personally go for Gabriel, but there is a slightly bigger rotation risk with a Brazilian. I would not be surprised if Arsenal decide to rest a few key players. They can still get the job done against Girona on paper, whilst Barcelona aren't really the type to rotate that much under Hansi Flick. And to be fair, Atalanta are a very good side, so if they rotate a little bit too much, they could be in big trouble. I'd be very surprised if Cubarsí was benched, but with Gabriel, that would not be the case. At the moment, I'd start Gabriel. Let's see how things go. And once the lineups are out, we can make an informed opinion, but the Brazilian would be my preference if he starts. Cylindra says, hey Dylan, thoughts on selling Salah and De Ketelaere to Elise and Mbappe? I like those moves. They're very solid on paper. Even Rodrigo, of course, he showed in Matchday 7, a very enticing option. And then Musiala for Bayern Munich. But there's a lot of injury updates coming from the Bavarians, should I say. I can't even speak properly today. Yeah, Manuel Neuer is a doubt. I think he should be available. There's a lot of goalkeeper injuries for them as well and suspensions. Musiala himself was given a rest in training yesterday, but he should start this game today. This will be a chaotic match day. 18 matches at the same time. Yes, indeed. We're never going to see anything like this again, really, until next season, pretty much. We'll make the transfers when lineup is out. I can't recommend that highly enough. So do not lock in any transfers just yet. I think some people bought Liverpool players like Salah and Van Dijk. Both of them aren't even in the squad, so there's no chance of them featuring. So there's going to be a lot of questions and stuff. I might have to slow the chat down at some stage, but just be patient. We'll go through your questions, of course. Just, yeah, show a bit of empathy, you could say. Good luck, Dylan. Likewise, Geo Boys. And thank you, Nick. If I kept my Limitless chip, is it wise to use it today? It ultimately depends on the amount of rotation you've got, because if you've got 11 players you're happy with in your starting 11 and with 2 free transfers, you know, you don't need to use the Limitless on paper. But yeah, using either the wildcard or Limitless can be really helpful this week. I just think with the Limitless, you're limiting the potential of the chip this week because you can't use substitutions or change the captaincy. So that's where I would have some slight issues with the Limitless. I just think the wildcard, for example, can match that chip, even though the biggest selling point of the Limitless is having unlimited budget and no restrictions there whatsoever. But I think a lot of people will be using the Limitless if they have a lot of rotation today. So welcome, Dalla. Good to see you. Hey, Dylan, will you be playing wildcard? Well, I'd like to avoid it if possible, and I talked about this in my team selection, but it ultimately depends on those lineups. If I'm going to get the rotation I'm expecting based on the information in the last day, it's very likely I'll activate the chip. Same, Venom, thank you very much. Good to see you in this chaotic time. Good luck. Just need to know, who would you captain? Well, Verts was the one I talked about in my team selection, and the best wildcard / Limitless team rolled into one. There's so many options though. Mbappe, Harry Kane, Musiala. I think if I had, you know, the pick of the bunch right now, I'd go for Harry Kane, but Florian Verts is a very enticing option. He's my current captain. That could change, especially if I play the wildcard chip. Patrick Schick or Julian Alvarez, who is the best option? Alvarez, if he starts, there is a chance that Sorloth does, but there are some predicted lineups flying about. Let's cover them now, because they'll probably answer some questions, but ultimately do not make any early moves. Just wait until all the lineups are covered in this deadline stream and then make an informed opinion. Sell the players that are benched and then bring in some big hitters in the midfield and forward line preferably, but it will vary for everybody. Some of you might need to make defender transfers or even a goalkeeper move, or perhaps use the wildcard / Limitless chip. So let's get this stream to 200 likes nice and early. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my content. There's also FPL videos headed your way. If you are a member or patron, you can check out the best wildcard team for Double Gimmick 24 in FPL. That's already available to you, and there's going to be more. If you want to see a chip strategy guide for FPL or an assistant manager chip, maybe a strategy kind of video, then let me know in the live chat and also in the comments section. The same goes for my team selection, which is headed your way very soon for Fantasy Premier League. And of course, for UCL Fantasy, everything you need to know will be covered on this channel. So let's go to the different screens and let's go to the official lineup we've got already from Real Madrid. They love going early, don't they? So they are going for Courtois in goal, Mendy, Rudiger, Tchouaméni as the centre-back, with Vasquez on the right, Bellingham, Modric and Valverde, Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Diaz up front. Vinicius Jr. is suspended, of course, and I'll cover all the suspensions in this video and also some possible doubts, of course. Even Kim Min-jae was one of them. That's a piece of information that happened after the recording of my team selection video. So that's Real Madrid's lineup. That's already confirmed and locked in. These are possible lineups. This is for Atletico Madrid. Oblak in goal, Llorente, Lenormand, Lenglet, Azpilicueta, Giuliano, De Paul, Koke, and Lino. Alvarez and Griezmann up front, but over the last couple of days, it was reported that Sorloth was more likely going to start over Alvarez, so that's still up in the air in my opinion. Let's also go to Juventus. So this is one predicted lineup by Giovanni Albanesi. Perrin is touted to start over Di Gregorio, and if that's the case, I will have no goalkeeper this week with Alisson out of the squad against PSV Eindhoven. They're going for McKennie, Kalulu, Gatti, and Savona as the two, or the four defenders, should I say. Thuram and Douglas Luiz in central midfield. Yildiz is expected to start. Multiple sources have suggested this. Conceição and Mbangula, just alongside Vlahovic, is the preferred front three, but that is just one predicted lineup. We might as well wait an hour or less and get the official starting 11. And this is, of course, Real Madrid again, so yeah, it's a little bit different to what I talked about, and of course, we're going to have to make a few changes already. So if you actually go back to this team for Real Madrid, no Asensio in the 11, who is in my squad. I bought him in matchday 7, so yeah, already not looking too promising, and I think the wildcard is looking more likely, but we'll talk about that very soon. So this is with Inter Milan. Sky Sports Italia posted a predicted lineup yesterday, but it seems like there are a few changes to the 11. So Thuram, Barella and De Vrij will start over Arnautovic, Fratesi and Bisek. 0 rotation, despite the fact that Inter Milan have that Milan derby at the weekend. So it would be Sommer in goal, it'd be Pavard, De Vrij and Bastoni, Dumfries, in this case it'd be Barella, Aslani, Mkhitaryan and Di Marco, with Lautaro Martinez alongside Thuram. That would be Inter starting 11, and we'll find out very soon anyway. So just keep your eyes peeled for Inter Milan. And as for AC Milan, it looks like they could go for Maignan in goal, Tomori, Pavlovic, Gabbia, Theo, Musa, Fofana, Reinders, Pulisic, Morata, and Rafael Leao. But these are all just predictions, and there is a slight chance they don't happen. With Sky Sports Italia, though, they pretty much get it spot on, especially with Inter Milan lineup. So what I just showed you with Inter Milan should be pretty much 100% accurate. With the others, though, there's a slight chance that isn't the case. Let's also talk about my predictions for Predict 6. I've gone for Liverpool 2, PSV 1, but I will adjust these based on the lineups. Sturm Graz 1, Leipzig 2, Inter Milan 1, Monaco 0, Dinamo Zagreb 1, AC Milan 2, Aston Villa 2, Celtic 1, and then Girona 0, Arsenal 2. I originally put 2-1 for the Gunners, but I've got a lot of 2-1 predictions here for Matchday 8, so there could be a few changes. I also put out a poll on my channel about your approach for Matchday 8, and 73% of you have voted for transfers. Only 14% are using the wildcard, and 13% activating the limitless. I thought it'd be a little bit more balanced, to be quite honest with you. I thought more people would be using a chip, but that doesn't kind of generalize the whole UCL Fantasy player base, and a lot of you might decide to activate a chip after the lineups that are released in the next hour or so. If you haven't already joined the UCL Fantasy League, there is a link in the description below. You click it and you automatically join. The code is cCaFxb, so be sure to check it out. And let's now go to my UCL Fantasy team again, without making any transfers, of course. And yeah, if you've run into any problems during the stream, let me know, and I'll try to sort it, but hopefully that isn't the case. I've spent all day fixing technical bloody issues. Welcome, Ivan. Good to see you, and it's good to see a lot of familiar faces here. So yeah, with FPL questions, save them for the FPL streams, of course, but is Moyes worth keeping for Game Week 25? On paper, I'd say yes against Crystal Palace, but we'll talk more about FPL in those respective streams. Gvardiol or Schlotterbeck? Gvardiol. Hello, Dylan. Do you prefer Tielemans, Kimmich, or Gittins in the starting 11? Yeah, Tielemans has been decent in UCL Fantasy, actually. I'd probably lean towards Gittins, but he's been a big disappointment for me personally. Mbappe or Wirtz for captain? My current preference is Wirtz. I can't guarantee for sure that I'll stick with Florian Wirtz as my captain, but out of those two, that is my current preference. Gittins or Rodgers? Very close as well, but probably Gittins for me. Who to bench? Timber, Kim Min-jae, De Vrij, Grimaldo, Theo Hernandez, and Gittins. I'd consider benching Jurriën Timber here. I'm not sure if he even starts, actually. There's a few Arsenal players, I think, that will be benched, Kai Havertz being one of them. Timber needs a rest. I mean, he's overplayed since returning from that ACL injury. If he does start, you could make a case for benching Theo Hernandez instead, but I'd definitely start Grimaldo, Kim Min-jae, Gittins, and De Vrij. Yeah, I'd start all of them, but it's a toss-up between Theo Hernandez and Timber to bench. Let's see the lineups first before kind of locking in that sort of conundrum. Thank you, El Padrino. Good to see you as well. Nope, I don't have the Limitless. I used it back in Matchday 3, I believe. Yeah, Matchday 2 or 3. I need to double check, but I've used it. Welcome, Ahmed. Good to see you. Just saying hi. Love the EPL wildcard video you posted today. Seeing that I have 10 players out of 15 already. Cheeky. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, it's a solid foundation. You cover blank Game Week 29. You've got a solid platform for the preceding Game Weeks and also beforehand. And of course, you've got 6 doublers for 24 and enough money in the bank to upgrade and die, in that case, to Chris Wood or another striker of your preference like Cunha. But of course, with FPL, like I said, we'll cover that in more detail in the videos and streams. I do appreciate you watching that already, though. Gyökeres is ruled out. He's missing the next 2 games, so Gyökeres is not going to play Matchday 8. I'd be looking to sell. Welcome, Varnet. Also good to see you. Captain Harry Kane or Haaland? Very close. I would lean towards Harry Kane at the moment. No, Salah is not going to be in the squad. Salah, Alisson, Van Dijk, Kanate, Luis Diaz and Trent are not in the Liverpool squad. Cody Gakpo has travelled and it looks like he will start against his former club PSV Eindhoven, but Liverpool are going to rotate massively. They might even play Endo as a centre-back. So yeah, Salah's not starting. That's why in my team selection video, before the news even broke about Salah not being in the squad, I just didn't expect him to be available and to start the game. So he was a provisional transfer out for me, and that hasn't changed now. It's very likely I'll use the wild card. I can't guarantee it though. If I've got a very solid platform and I can get to 11 very strong players for Matchday 8, I could possibly avoid using the wild card, but right now it's more likely that I will activate it. I could see a few more benchings from my 50-man squad. I understand no subs, but will bench players come in if one of my 11 doesn't play? Yes, but what you want to do is ensure that your starting 11 is players that you know are going to start, you've checked the lineups, you lock in your team, and they're players you're really happy with on paper. But if you've got a player, like you say, that doesn't feature at all, automatic subs will come into play, and you can't change the captaincy regardless. Thank you, Brian. Massively appreciated. Is it time to wildcard? I can't say that for you, mate. I don't know your team, and I don't know the lineups yet, so it's impossible for me to say. But I think in a lot of cases, the wildcards and limitlesses will be activated. So limitless, who do I take captain? I think Kane or Wirtz would be right up there for me. It's covered in detail in that video, of course, and I do recognise, of course, we are waiting for those lineups and then we can give informed opinions and stuff. So I'm just giving my provisional thoughts and then we'll see how that changes over the next half an hour. Yeah, like I just said with Salah, mate, he's not in the squad. He's not playing, simple as. Thank you, J-Dub. Yeah, I'll get into the ins and outs later if people are still tuning around and we hit our Super Chat goal. There is one issue I'm going to have long-term now with my software that I want to solve. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute nightmare. Dream front three. Kane, Mbappe and Haaland, if you can make it work. Kane or Musiala, it'd be Harry Kane. Welcome Nitin. Hi Dylan, how are you? Pretty good, all things considered. Hopefully you are doing well too. Rank them Dembele, Barcola, Pulisic and Harvey Elliott. Yeah, Elliott's a decent shout. Scored a massively deflected goal, of course, against Lille recently. I think the way I'd rank it is... Dembele's been in good form, scoring some brilliant goals in the Champions League and Ligue 1. But yeah, I think it's Dembele first, Pulisic second, Barcola third, and Elliott fourth. I think PSV is quite tough, especially against the Liverpool side that will massively rotate. Jerome says, hola, en la siguiente fase se comienza de cero en la alineación o se mantiene la que ya tenemos. Sí, se mantiene lo que tenemos, pero tenés la oportunidad de hacer muchas transferencias como si estuviésemos empezando la temporada de nuevo, así que podemos hacer cualquier cantidad de transferencias, unlimited, como se dice en inglés, así que sí, va a ser como la jornada 1. I'm so cooked, says Dalla. I've got Trent and Van Dijk with no free transfers. Thoughts? I got Kun, Orawara and Kimmich on the bench. Well, yeah, if you can start Kimmich over one of those defenders, that's fine. It's not a terrible choice. And even Kun against Villa away. I mean, Celtic didn't play this weekend. They're one of like 3 or 4 teams across the 36 Champions League clubs that had their game postponed or just didn't play at all. But yeah, I'd start Kimmich here and maybe take a hit in your case. You could even use the wildcard chip if you got it available. The same goes for the limitless, although, as I've mentioned multiple times, it's just not the best time for me to use it in my opinion. I mean, look, if you don't have the wildcard chip, you've only got the limitless, fair enough, but I just look at Matchday 8 and the fact that anyone on the wildcard can cheap out their bench and just focus on the starting 11, they can almost match, if not they can pretty much match anything that a limitless player can do. But that's just the way I see it, and ultimately I'd rather limitless than take massive hits to solve your Matchday 8 squad. If Alvarez plays, Haaland or Alvarez? Haaland. John Duran has an agreement to join Al Nassr. Yeah, well, we'll wait and see, because there are reports of Ollie Watkins to Arsenal right now, and Aston Villa won't sell both. So it's just up to Villa to decide which one they sell. We'll talk more about that in FPL, of course, but kind of a weird timing, of course. Massive game for Aston Villa tonight against Celtic with the Champions League in play. So we'll see what happens in the remaining days of the transfer window. Yeah, of course, Kane's a good captain. I've covered that in detail. Remember Galeno, 44 points? Yes. Oh, yeah, I think I captained him when that happened. Yeah, Galeno's been brilliant. Maybe I didn't captain him, but I definitely had him in my team. Really good UCL Fantasy option last season. Craig says, thanks for letting us know about the automatic subs. I've been wondering about that all week. Yeah, look, I mean, in UCL Fantasy, I always recommend making manual subs, but you just simply can't do that in Matchday 8 or Matchday 17 for the Champions League final. But ultimately, what you want to do is have 11 players who start and have the best chance possible of scoring many points. Because if you've got a player that's going to miss out and you've got an automatic sub taking place, you leave things a little bit more to chance. So it becomes a bit more like FPL with the substitutions, and it's not my preference in this game. But of course, it's better than having no one come off your bench, of course, and yeah, just having 10 players if someone misses out. If you have Limitless but a good enough starting squad, is it worth holding? I think so. Because also with the Limitless, I know it becomes less appealing from the knockout stages onwards because everyone gets a 5 million increase to their budget, which basically means they can kind of get closer to Limitless squads for the knockout stages. I still think I'd rather use it at that stage or for the knockout playoff rounds in match days 9 and 10. So yeah, for match day 8, look, I know for some people it will be the best course of action, so don't get me wrong, the Limitless can work out. I just don't think it's as strong as it would be from match days 2 to 7. I've always recommended to people to use it between that period because I just think match day 8, it looks much worse. So yes, people are saying in the live chat, and I've covered this already in the stream, the likes of Gyökeres and also Salah are out. They're not going to play in, well, today. I always said this week. And there's a lot of other players as well, like Trent, Van Dijk, Alisson, Diaz, McAllister, Kanate, and the list will continue. Who to play, Milot or Retegui? Probably Milot, but yeah, both of them have tough fixtures today. Should I swap Yamal for Rafinha? If you can do that, and what I mean by that is if you're happy with the rest of your squad, but I wouldn't make that switch yet. The same goes for other transfers I suggested, like selling Salah. Don't pull the trigger just yet because the player you might bring in, he could be benched. So just wait for the lineups before confirming anything. And I know this stream is going to be hectic. I get it. We're going to get repeat questions and stuff, but let's just calma, keep it composed, and yeah, we'll optimize our team for match day 8 and hopefully have a great score. Verts captain. Yeah, that's my current preference, but it might change, especially if I bring Harry Kane on the wild card, if I do activate the chip. Emi Martinez in goal. I wouldn't recommend them too much. I think Celtic could score. In my predictions, which I showed earlier, I went for 2-1 Villa, but he's one of the best goalkeepers in world football, and in UCL Fantasy, he's been quite good this season. Hey Dylan, is Salah, Kane, Van Dijk, Rafinha, Lewandowski starting? So that's just been covered a few minutes ago in regards to Van Dijk and Salah. They're both out. They're not in the squad, so they can't play. Kane, Rafinha, Lewandowski should all start, and we'll find out in half an hour's time. I'd be shocked if those players were benched or missed out entirely. Gittins or Barcola? Gittins. Best defender under 4.9 million. Tough one. Not sure if there's many standouts. I think once we get the lineups, I can give you a good answer, but I think Pacho, William Pacho from Paris Saint-Germain is decent. That springs to mind, but he might not be the very best. So once those lineups are out, I can give you an informed opinion. Yeah, I'll speak Spanish when I get a Spanish question. So yeah, Kane captain, yeah, I think that's absolutely fine, but it's not the only one. Pick 4 mids for Limitless. It's covered in that video, but I would say Musiala, Foden, Bellingham, and Rafinha is very solid. Hey Dylan, worth a -4. Hopefully that's not bugging out. Yeah, I don't trust the software today. So let's get this up a bit. Let's see. So yeah, Richard Milichip says, hey Dylan, worth a -4 for Trent to enter defender or Frimpong. Already have Grimaldo, or bench Trent and just play Schlotterbeck instead. I'd play Schlotterbeck instead. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And let me know in the live chat if there are any issues in general, like it could be lag in the camera or audio, something like that. Maybe there's freezing. Just let me know. But yeah, like I said. Right. Yeah, okay, no, fair enough. I think there is issues here. I'm going to have to close a few tabs and get things in order. But yeah, like I said, I've had an absolute nightmare today with software and stuff like that. Hopefully that doesn't persist. But before I go back into more questions, let's actually talk about the suspended players for Matchday 8. So Vinicius Jr., Barrios, Maeda, Cabral, Carreras, Casavenda, Mendes, Goretzka, Ulrich, Calabria, Andre, Mandy, Brian Hill, Rualt, Freuler, Hincapié, Flamingo, and Urjinic are all suspended for Matchday 8. Of course, the biggest of those names is Vinicius Jr. So, yeah, that is the list of suspensions. Hopefully you all got that. And hopefully this stream ends up going well, I guess. I mean, yeah. I've absolute nightmare today with absolute technology. I bloody hate it. Alvarez or Watkins? It would be Alvarez for me. I mean, with Watkins, it's still a good fixture for him. Is his mind going to be right there? He is an Arsenal fan linked with Arsenal, and you know, whenever you're linked with a move like that, all of a sudden it can distract you. Look, that's all hypothetical. He's a professional. He can focus on his job and do something for Villa. But it would be Alvarez if he starts for me. Best goalkeeper for Matchday 8? Arguably Sommer. It's a difficult fixture against Monaco, but I'd argue it's Sommer. Gittins or Reinders? Gittins. Kane or Mbappe? Kane. Gittins or Barcola? Gittins. I haven't used it yet, but I've mentioned this multiple times. It's likely that I will use the wildcard. It all depends on those lineups. I can't really say definitively, you know, either way if I'm going to do it or not, because that's what it ultimately rests upon. Alvarez out. He's not ruled out yet. There are reports that it was Sorloth in training and he's more likely to start, but one lineup by Marca suggests that it will be Alvarez. Yeah, good to see you, 5 mics. Greetings, lads. Once again, we assemble. That's one way of putting it. I think Rafinha should play. I mean, Barcelona in a good position in the Champions League, but they're facing Atalanta. Hansi Flick barely rotates. I'd be surprised if Rafinha was benched. It's a very difficult opponent as well. Gittins or Elise? It'd be Elise. If he starts, of course. Start Theo or Schlotterbeck, and why? Schlotterbeck, I mean, he got a red card recently in the Bundesliga. Both AC Milan and Borussia Dortmund are quite suspect defensively. But maybe the home advantage and the ball recovery potential is why I'd side towards Schlotterbeck. I'm not a big fan of either. Kane or Wirtz captain? At the moment, I'd say Kane. My team's a mess. 4 players not playing, no chips. Yeah, and it could be more once we get all those lineups. And if you do see any out, let me know and we'll cover them as soon as possible, and then we can make our informed decisions. What's the best time to use Limitless? I've said this all along. Match days 2 to 7. If you still got it in your back pocket, it might be quite useful now, especially if you've got like 5-6 players who are benched, suspended or injured, but that's team dependent. If you've got a good starting 11, I'd rather save the Limitless for match days 10, for example, perhaps even match day 12 and beyond. You can't use it match day 9 or 11. The same goes for the wildcard, because you get unlimited transfers like you would in match day 1 when you start the season. Ferran is starting, so maybe Rafinha is benched or Lamine. It's possible, so that's why the lineups will be telling. I appreciate that update though. There's a lot of different possible rotations happening. With Barcelona though, I still think Rafinha should start. If he doesn't though, we should be prepared to replace him. So yeah, Haaland and Musiala, Elise or Kane and Foden. Difficult one. I would lean towards Kane and Foden, but they're both excellent duos. I don't really see much difference. Thoughts on Guirassy, Griezmann, Schick or Watkins? Guirassy is my favourite of the 4, but they've all got decent fixtures, of course. In fact, they've all got pretty good fixtures for an attacker. Watkins would be at the bottom of that list, in my opinion, but yeah, he's still a good option this week. I think my favourite is Guirassy. Play Rodgers, Emre Can or Gabriel? Well, if Gabriel starts, he would be my favourite. That is a big if, though. I personally think he won't start. We'll wait and see. Thank you, Julian. Dicatelare to Sorloth or Alvarez? Well, whoever starts, mate. I don't mean to sound like a twat, but that's literally what it comes down to. I think Alvarez is the better option, though, if he does get the nod. And Salah to Elise or Salah to Musiala and upgrade Theo or Schlotterbeck to another defender? My favourite is probably going to be, well, yeah, Dicatelare against Barcelona away. Decent fixture for attackers, but no Lookman. That's another player who's missing out, by the way, this time due to injury, just like Gyökeres. Yeah, that will be my preference. Dicatelare to Alvarez if he starts, and then Salah to Elise looks pretty good. Hakimi, Gatti, Grimaldo, Rudiger, Koundé, Emi Martinez is okay. If they all start, then yeah. Rudiger does start, of course. That was covered already, as Real Madrid love going early with their lineups. As for the rest, they're pretty good options on paper. Yeah, Frimpong should play. I don't know for sure, though, if he's going to start, but I'd be slightly shocked if he wasn't. Which two of Haaland, Kane and Mbappe? It's probably Kane and, at the moment, I'd say Haaland, but very, very close. Mbappe could go off. It's about time he does in the Champions League. Haaland or Foden, because the cost was the issue. It's probably going to be Erling Haaland. Best goalkeeper for all budgets, as mentioned before, probably Sommer. Yeah, Gyökeres is out. Alvarez in, Guirassy out -4. No. Alvarez might not even start. We'll cover that soon. Should I use Limitless now or worth saving? One, I don't know your team. Two, the lineups haven't been all released yet, so it's very difficult for me to say. If you've got multiple players missing out due to suspension, injury, or just being benched, then I would use the Limitless. Otherwise, if possible, I'd rather save it, but it's going to be different for everybody. Ranked top 3 best goalkeepers this week. Sommer, which is probably going to be first, actually. Black is up there. And the other, I mean, I would say Kobel. He was really good in UCL Fantasy last season, but I think Shakhtar could score. I think the third one could still be David Raya if he starts, actually. That's my top 3 right now. That could change, of course, when the lineups are released. I've used the Limitless chip already. I've got the wildcard in my back pocket. I'm ready to use it, you could say. But yeah, once those lineups are out, it's going to be hectic. I'm going to be focusing on my team at some stages and probably overthinking. But I'll try to be concise. I've got a clear idea from what I discussed in my best wildcard and Limitless team about the best starting 11, which is all that's important for Matchday 8. I'm not so bothered about the bench, of course. And the captaincy is very important to get spot on. So yeah, with the wild card, it's likely I'll use it today, but it's not a guarantee. Best 4 midfielders, I mentioned this earlier. If you got no budget restrictions or you can build to this sort of thing, I would say Foden, Bellingham, Musiala, and Rafinha if he starts. Salah is out, mate. Salah's out. The lineups could be out even sooner, mate. They could be out around 6:45 PM UK time, which would be in 14 minutes, actually. So, yeah. Hola, Dylan, ¿cómo están los niños? I don't have any children, thank you very much. I'm a child myself, I'd say. Callum Jr. says, evening, Dylan. Do we have unlimited transfers next match day? Yes. Would mean I might as well sell Salah. Yes, you do. And for match day 11. So for the knockout playoff rounds in match days 9 and 10, you get unlimited transfers in match day 9. And then for match day 11, when the round of 16 begins, you once again get unlimited transfers. That's why I've been emphasizing the point that you should focus on your starting 11 this week and don't bother about the bench. It's all about match day 8 now in this deadline stream. Trent is rested. Yes, he's not in the squad. The same goes for McAllister, Konate, Van Dijk, Alisson, Salah, and Diaz. They're all not in the Liverpool squad. What's a viable minus points taken if carnage happens? Don't have any chips. Maybe a -8, but if you're talking about -12s and above, I'd rather use a chip in that case for sure. Would you play De Ketelaere or Gabriel? Gabriel if he starts. Schlotterbeck to Grimaldo. I'm on board with that. Looks very decent. Captain Kane or Mbappe? Kane is my current preference. They're both excellent choices though. I have Vinicius, Alvarez, Gyökeres, Salah, Raul Asensio, and all are out. What should I do? If you've got a chip, I'd consider using it. Otherwise, maybe a -4 or -8. You just need a starting 11. Don't worry about your bench because you can't make subs in this match day. Haaland or Wirtz? Probably Wirtz, but it's very close. And Haaland has a great home record in the Champions League this season. Only the one blank, which came against Inter Milan. I had Salah and Lookman, but they're both out. Who do I replace them with? Musiala would be up there. And, I mean, apart from Rafinha, maybe Bellingham, if you've got the funds. It all depends on your budget. I also don't mind Elise, of course. Gittins is solid. But, yeah, there's a lot of factors in there that will determine the best replacements. I still have the wildcard and Limitless. Should I use wildcard today? So this is an interesting one, right? The wildcard is a long-term tool. It enforces permanent changes to your squad. And in fact, let's see if we can get this show on the road. I can show you a visual representation of the chips. So let's see. So this is the summary of the wildcard. Unlimited changes. You can only use it once throughout the entire tournament. The same goes for the Limitless. You do have budget constraints with the wildcard chip, and it's irreversible once it's been activated, which is the same for the other booster too. All hits will be cancelled, so if you take a -8 or a -12, then activate the wildcard before the deadline, you cancel out all those hits. The normal rules for subs, formations and captaincy still apply, but in match day 8, of course, it's a special circumstance. 18 matches happening at the same time, and you can't make subs in this match day. So with the Limitless chip, it's only for one match day. It's a free hit. You've got no budget restrictions, and you can build the best team possible. The problem with match day 8 is, because your bench is irrelevant in this match day, it's all about your starting 11, and a lot of people, even without a booster or just using the wild card, can match the Limitless squad this week. So on paper, I'd rather use the wild card if we're talking about Matchday 8 specifically, but with the limitless chip, it does lose even more value, you could argue, in the knockout stages because everyone gets a 5 million increase to your budget. So if your squad value is 102 million, your squad value in Matchday 11 becomes 107 million. So hopefully you get all of that, and it's ultimately team dependent, but I can understand why some of you might argue that using the limitless over the wildcard is better this week. I certainly get that, but I just don't think the limitless is that powerful in Matchday 8 because of the lack of subs, and ultimately a lot of people can match you without the use of this limitless booster. But we'll go back to this if you want any more kind of breakdowns of this. This is a comparison of both chips and the key differences and similarities. I've covered this in my chip strategy guide in detail, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. That video will be relevant for the entire season, and it's a very useful piece of UCL Fantasy content. Let's go back to my UCL Fantasy team, though, and of course, the lineups are being eagerly anticipated, to say the least. Tengo que cambiar a Gyökeres, sí, no va a jugar los próximos 2 partidos, incluyendo la jornada 8 hoy, así que yo lo vendería. Si Álvarez juega, me gustaría comprar a él o Gerasi. Todo depende de las alineaciones. Si tienes mucho dinero, me gusta Harry Kane, Haaland y Mbappé, pero también yo sé que va a ser difícil para muchos hacer esa compra. What is the game that you think will just be goals galore? Barcelona-Atalanta will be up there for me. Foden versus Musiala. Musiala is my current preference, but it's very, very close. If I decide to wildcard, I'll have both of them in my team. Wirtz over Haaland captain right now, Mauricio. That's my opinion. Ultimately, back your gut. Dortmund have been very poor. They sacked Nuri Sahin, but they still drew over the weekend. Schlotterbeck was sent off in that game. They are there for the taking. I believe they drew 2-2 to Werder Bremen, if I'm not mistaken. There's something not quite right there at Dortmund, and ultimately they need a permanent manager to kind of steer the ship in the right direction. I think Gerasi is a good option up front. Gittins is a decent budget midfielder. But if I'm wildcarding or limitlessing this week, I think one Dortmund player is enough, and I'd rather avoid their defenders, even though Schlotterbeck's good for ball recoveries. Emre Can is the #1 penalty taker when he is on the pitch. Yeah, it's all about Gerasi for me in that team. What happens during the playoffs for the game? For this game? Well, the playoffs are in match days 9 and 10. That's all been covered in detail in my UCL Fantasy Guide, the chip strategy video I posted several months ago. You get unlimited transfers in match day 9, then you get 2 free transfers for match day 10, but that's all covered. I can show you very quickly now. Let's go back to the chip since this is going to be asked quite a lot in today's stream, and I get that. So this is how it works. Let's go to the transfer table. So before the round of 16, it's the one we want to look at is the yellow columns. So before the knockout playoff rounds in match day 9, unlimited transfers. And then for match day 10, you get 2 free transfers. And then for the round of 16, unlimited once again. Then a pattern of free, 5, free, 5, free, 5, which is pretty much what you're used to in UCL Fantasy if you've played it before. So nothing's really changed from the round of 16 and beyond. It's just these 2 additional games on top of the extended league phase format, of course. But yeah, that's how it works in terms of transfers. Hopefully that covers your question. I'd urge you to watch the chip strategy guide because that breaks it down in detail and it covers everything you need to know with transfers, the wildcard, limitless, the best time to use both boosters, and much more. But let's go back to my team once again. And later on, I'll show you my predictions and probably make a few alterations, so to speak. No problem, Matt. I appreciate the kind words. Been driving all day. Let me just get that. Is Lookman injured? Yes, he's out. He's not in the squad to face Barcelona. Salah as well, for example, isn't injured, but he's been rested. The same goes for multiple Liverpool players like Trent, Konate, McAllister, Van Dijk, Luis Diaz, McAllister. And another player who's missing out is Gyökeres from Sporting. He is out, so I would be looking to sell him. But in terms of making the transfer now, I'd urge you to wait until the lineups are out because your replacement for these options, they might end up getting benched. So I'd urge some caution with your moves. I think KDB's a fine option to replace Salah. I had him last season and he did very well for me in match day 7, I believe, at the time for the round of 16. But yeah, if KDB is very injury prone, I'd rather go for Phil Foden instead. My limitless selection is pretty much what I talked about in that video, mate. I don't think anything's changed just yet. Once we get the lineups, there could be a few alterations, but there's no point really kind of dilly-dallying about that just yet. Hey, Schick, Gerasi, and Foden or Kane and Dembele Pulisic. Good to see you, Mishra. Schick or Gerasi is close, but I'd lean towards Gerasi. Foden or Kane. Oh, it's a duo question, my bad. Okay, so Kane and Dembele or Guirassy and Foden. It's probably going to be Guirassy and Foden, but I really like that Harry Kane pick. It's just, I don't think Dembele and Pulisic quite stack up to Foden or even Schick/Guirassy, but that might be completely wrong of me. So it makes no sense to use the wildcard right now since we have unlimited next match day. I disagree because if you got a lot of players out in matchday 8 and it forces you to take massive hits to field a starting 11 that you're happy with, I'd rather use the wildcard in that case. I mean, on paper I get what you're saying, but I don't really see it that way. I have the limitless Musiala, Wirtz, Foden. What other midfielder would you recommend? Rafinha if he starts. Good evening from Tunisia. My team is Kane, Guirassy, Musiala, Yamal, Rafinha, Wirtz, Salah, Koundé, Djimitsi and Hakimi, with Ederson as goalkeeper, with De Vrij, Simeone and Schlotterbeck on the bench. Who should I start? Well, it all depends on the lineups because some of those players you mentioned could be benched. I mean, Salah, for example, isn't in the squad, so that speaks for itself. I'd bench him. Ederson in goal. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I would bench Djimitsi for Schlotterbeck in this case, or actually even De Vrij. Yeah, De Vrij would be my favourite. He is expected to start, actually. It's one of the late changes Inter Milan have made to their lineup. They're going full out against Monaco. So yeah, De Vrij would be in for me. Djimitsi out. I'd also consider benching Koundé for Schlotterbeck. That's just my opinion. So I'd go for Ederson in goal, Hakimi, De Vrij and Schlotterbeck. Wirtz, Rafinha, Yamal, Musiala if they all start. Guirassy, Kane up front. And I'd make a transfer here or there. So Salah could be offloaded to Foden, for example, or Kevin De Bruyne, as someone else mentioned. Bellingham is another great shout. And up front, you can buy Mbappe potentially if you've got enough funds. That might require you to downgrade Salah in the process, but I've pretty much broken it down for you, I think. Who would you pick between Emi Martinez and Ederson? Slight preference for... It's probably Emi Martinez, slight preference, but I think both City and Aston Villa could concede. It's very close. If Ederson starts, to be fair, you might favour him. It's just with City defensively. The only one I'm looking at is Gvardio, actually. De Ketelaere is my preference over Retegui. Hablemos con Andy says, I will use my limitless. Who should I set as captain? Kane, Rafinha, Mbappe or Haaland? My favourite is Kane. Hey Dylan, I'm activating the limitless today. Too many options to opt for yet. Too much perplexity. Who to choose? Oh yeah, very, very difficult. But if you check out my limitless and wildcard video, I'd use that as your foundation. And then once the lineups are out in the next 20 minutes or so, I'd start locking in certain players in your team, and then you've got a really good idea of who you want. But it's all about your starting 11. The bench isn't relevant, even on the limitless, which makes it a little bit less appealing, but I understand why some of you want to activate the chip this week. Hey Dylan, Haaland to Bellingham or Foden? I wouldn't be looking to sell Haaland if you can. Hakimi for Theo or no? I see it as a slight upgrade, so I'm not completely against it. Yeah, I just covered that, Kazi. I think with City defensively, they concede too many chances. I like Gvardio for the attacking threat. He scored against Chelsea, and I think in the Premier League he's got the most goals of any defender. He bombs forward as a left-back, and he can get ball recovery points, so he's the best of a bad bunch, I'd say. With Ederson, for example, would I choose him on a limitless or wildcard or buy him in? No chance. Start Kobel or Martinez? Probably Kobel, but I think both Dortmund and Villa will likely concede. That's my opinion, though. Well, Luther, I haven't made transfers yet, and ultimately I don't suggest making them until we get all those bloody lineups. Salah's not going to play. Will Alvarez start? Marca thinks so, but a lot of the reports indicated that Sorloth was in the starting 11 in terms of the training segments or sessions over the last couple of days, but hopefully we get news very soon. Thank you, Paredes, for the super chat. Hola, Dylan. Benefits of carrying the wild card to the knockouts. So I think this is probably warranting of going back to the chip strategy kind of podcast I talked about quite some while ago. So I've actually made some points on this at the time, which I made many months ago. Sorry, I can't even speak English. Many months ago, but it's worth going through again. So this is the OG's chip strategy, yada, yada, yada. So this is what I was recommending to people, using the limitless between match days 2 to 7, and I was considering saving my wildcard for later in the competition. That might change. I might end up using it now in match day 8. But in terms of the points, there are a lot here on screen, so feel free to have a read yourself. But yeah, using the chips for the knockout stages, and if you want, I can get rid of my ugly mug on screen. It covers the first point. So rotation is more common during the league phase, so a chip could be wasted early on. That's one kind of against argument to using them early. But of course, the Limitless I've always recommended using between match days 2 to 7. Now, you can build a better wildcard team later in the competition as we identify the best players and teams for the new season. And as I mentioned earlier, you get an increase of 5 million to your budget from matchday 11 onwards. So that gives you even more money to play with, and you can build a really competitive squad for the rest of the tournament. And you can also have a lot of free transfers, you could say, which does go against the wildcard, you could argue, because you get free transfers for the first leg of each round and then 5 free transfers for the second leg. So it goes both ways, really. There's no perfect way of playing UCL Fantasy, but typically over the years, we've played both of them in the league phase, formerly kind of known as the group stages. But this time round, I actually don't mind using the wildcard later in the competition. But I mean, I'm saying all of this. If I get a few more players benched, you know, maybe some out of the blue, I will be playing the wildcard chip in matchday 8. But feel free to watch that chip strategy guide because I break it down in detail and it's all team dependent. I can't really speak for everybody, just give my overall opinion based on the circumstances and context I've been given. So let's go to my UCL predictions, and hopefully we've got a few lineups. So I've gone for Liverpool 2, PSV 1, Stonegrass 1, Leipzig 2, a lot of 2-1s here out of these 6 games that they've posted. Inter Milan 1, Monaco 0, Dinamo Zagreb 1, AC Milan 2, Aston Villa 2, Celtic 1, and Girona 0, Arsenal 2. So let's see if we've got lineups. We do. Let's go through them. A lot of people asking about Gyökeres and Salah. So, of course, as covered already, Gyökeres is out. He is not in the squad. It's going to be Franco Israel in goal, De Bast, Francisco Trincao, Harder, Araujo, Catomo, Fresneda, Daniel, Gonzalo Inacio, Diomande, and Hjulmand for Sporting. As for Bologna, it's Ravaglia, Holm, Castro, Ndoi, Ealing Jr., Casali, Pobega, yeah, Ferguson, Biokema, Miranda, and Fabian. So those are the lineups. We can also have a quick look at the benches if you want. Bologna struggling to even field the full bench there. They've got a very thin squad. So yeah, feel free to pause as well and go to UEFA.com to check the lineups as well yourself. So these are the PSV and Liverpool lineups. Benitez in goal, also Karsdorp, Boscagli, Obispo, I've butchered that, Maro Jr., Bakayoko, Land, Veerman, Sabari, Pepe, and Till. And for Liverpool, it's Kelleher in goal, Tsimikas, Robertson at centre-back with Quansah, Bradley, Elliott, Endo, McConnell, Chiesa, was it Dens? Oh, yeah, it's a youngster. And Gakpo. It's Dan, sorry. It's just my eyesight is absolutely finished at this point. Let's look at the benches, though. Let's see if we've got anything here. Yeah, so that speaks for itself. Liverpool's lineup and their bench is very, very light. They've left out a lot of key players. They're fully rested for the weekend against Bournemouth, which is going to be a very tricky game for Liverpool on paper. So yeah, Young Boys and Red Star Belgrade, feel free to obviously check it out yourself. What I might do actually, yeah, I'm going to do this. It might also help some of you. It might be a bit long to do all of this, but I'm going to put the links to all of these lineups in the live chat and start closing them myself. So yeah, be sure to check them out. Red Star Belgrade, of course, is on screen right now, and I'm putting the link in the live chat as we speak. And this will be Stuttgart versus PSG. So Donnarumma in goal, Lucas Hernandez, Pacho, Marquinhos and Hakimi, Vitinha, João Neves and Zaire Emery, Barcola, Doué and Dembele. And with Stuttgart, the likes of Mittelstadt, Unduff and Milot all start. And Liuling, who got a brace last match day, is in the 11 once again. No surprises there. So I'm going to put this lineup as well in the live chat. Before I move on to the next one, let's see if I've missed any super chats. Okay, we're all good on that front. Of course, keep your questions and comments rolling. Just be patient though, of course, because I'm covering all the lineups right now and the links have been provided in the live chat as I speak. Stonegrass versus Leipzig, of course, not most relevant UCL fantasy-wise. Both teams eliminated from the competition, but Leipzig got their first victory in the Champions League this season against Sporting. So yeah, pretty much a few changes, right? I mean, Xavi Simons, for example, isn't there. Is he on the bench? Yeah, he is on the bench. The same goes for David Raum. So they are rotating a little bit and focusing on the weekend there for Leipzig. So once again, feel free to check those lineups too. So yeah, Musiala doesn't start, says Joao Gonçalves. Thank you very much. So yeah, like I said, it's going to be very chaotic. It's fun. Embrace the chaos. It should be a good one. So yeah, we'll cover that very soon. Man City versus Bruges, Ederson in goal, Stones, Kovacic, Haaland, De Bruyne, Gundogan, Bernardo Silva, Gavardio, Akanji, Mateus Nunes, and Foden. So yeah, my favourite options from that City team would be Haaland, Foden, and Gavardio in that order. I think De Bruyne as a cheeky punt is also pretty decent, so that's also very enticing. Let's get that show on the road. All right, so Bayern Munich. So this is the big news. Musiala is not in the lineup. So Neuer in goal, Kim Min-jae, Kimmich, Kane, Sane, Elise, Sacha Boey, Müller, Tell, Stanisic, and Pavlovic. Bayern Munich are a bit light at the moment with all their injuries. Musiala is on the bench, it looks like, right? No, he's not even... Yeah, he is on the bench. I nearly missed him. Upamecano on the bench. He also was suffering a little issue. So a few surprises there from the Bavarians. That is all covered. Musiala is benched there. Dylan, who scores for the Gunners today? I'll answer that once we get to the Arsenal's lineup, so just give me a second. I don't want to just say a random name who's probably benched, but if I'm guessing right now, I'd say Martinelli if he starts. Inter Milan versus Monaco. Let's go to their lineup. So pretty much what I discussed earlier. Sommer in goal, Pavard, De Vrij, Bastoni, Dumfries, Barella, Aslani, Mkhitaryan, DeMarco, Martinez, and Thuram. Monaco also with a strong lineup. They're a decent team themselves, but Inter Milan are the favourites to win this game. Let me put that lineup in the chat as well. Alvarez is starting. Thank you, Horacio. Probably an Argentinian, right? That is a Argentine name. Good to see you. Borussia Dortmund versus Shakhtar Donetsk. So Kobel in goal, Ryerson, Emre Can, Schlotterbeck, and Bensebaini, Brandt, Sabitzer, and Bayer with Gittins, Gerassi, and Adeyemi. And with Shakhtar, you can see their lineup as well. The benches also speak for themselves, really. So that's another lineup or set of lineups covered. Oh, Mexican, fair enough. You probably don't like that, right? But yeah, don't worry. It's good to see you anyway. Barcelona versus Atalanta. So let's see. Yes, so Rafinha does start. Some people were saying Rafinha's bench. That is not true. It's Szczesny in goal, Koundé, Araujo, Eric Garcia, and Balde, with Frankie de Jong, Pedri, Yamal, Gavi, Rafinha, and Lewandowski. For Atalanta, we've got Carnesecchi, Kolasinac, Jesus, my eyesight, Jan, Jimitsi, Sapacosta, Edison, De Room, Bellanova, Pasalic, Retegui, and De Ketelare. No Lookman, of course, which was covered earlier. And the benches are the following. So Ferran Torres isn't starting, despite a few rumours of him getting the nod. Yes, it is chaos indeed. Yeah, that's one way of saying it. I like Kane for the captaincy. If I was wildcarding, I'd probably go for Harry Kane, yeah. Musiala being benched isn't maybe a great thing for Kane, but he can still get the job done. So Leverkusen versus Sparta Prague. No surprises here, it looks like. So Kovar in goal, Mukiele, Tar, and Tapsoba. Frimpong and Grimaldo as the wing-backs, with Palacios and Xhaka in central midfield, Wirtz, Teller, and Schick up front. And Sparta Prague's lineup is also there on screen. And then the bench, of course, speaks for itself. Hincapié is suspended after his red card against Atletico Madrid. Juventus versus Benfica. So let's see if Di Gregorio starts. No, he doesn't. It's Perrin in goal, which I did talk about earlier with that predicted lineup. So I've got no goalkeeper. So I'm already down a few players. I'll talk about that once we get back to my team. So Perrin in goal, Gatti, Conceição, Vlahovic, Yildiz, Kalulu, McKennie, Thuram, Weah, Douglas Luiz, and Mbangula. If you haven't butchered that. And Benfica with a decent lineup themselves, with some World Cup winners in Otamendi and Di Maria. But let's move on. That is the lineups there. And the benches can also be seen on screen. Di Gregorio, mate. I mean, I've been trolled by him in the last couple of match days for sure. All right, we are getting close to the end. Don't worry. And like I said, feel free to rewind and pause and whatever. So you're, fully embracing it or fully kind of understanding what you're seeing right here in this chaotic deadline stream. So with AC Milan, they've gone for Maignan in goal, Theo Hernandez, Pavlovic, Gabbia, and Tomori, who is replacing the suspended Calabria. So Musa and Fofana in central midfield, Rafa Leao, Reinders, and Pulisic just behind Alvaro Morata, and the benches can also be seen on screen too. So let's get that up. Thank you, Paredes. Captain Haaland, Wirtz, and top three striker options. Well, my favourite at the moment is Harry Kane, but from those you mentioned, it would be Wirtz over Haaland just about. It's really close. I could see it being like a 50-50 call in my opinion, but massive swings going the other way. Top three strikers up front. Yeah, if you got unlimited budget, it would be Kane, Haaland, and Mbappe for me. What team will you use? If you're talking about booster, I mean, I've got the wildcard only. It's looking very likely. So yes, I probably will wildcard, but let's get back to my team. Then I can, start really have everything sink in and then make a final opinion on it. So did I put the Milan lineup? I think I did. Let me put the Milan lineup anyway, again, in the live chat. So Salzburg, Atletico Madrid, Oblak in goal, Azpilicueta, Lenglet, Lenormand, and Llorente, Lino, De Paul, Koke, and Simeone, Griezmann and Alvarez up front. So yeah, Marca were correct with the Argentine getting the nod over Sorloth. And the benches are the following. Barrios is suspended after that red card against Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, no Musiala's on the bench. He can make an impact in a brief cameo, but obviously a very big blow, and it does change the limitless and wildcard quite a lot, actually. So I'll talk about that very soon. Lille versus Feyenoord. These are the lineups for both teams. Should be a very interesting game, actually, but of course, there's only so much football you can watch. 18 games going on at the same time. Yeah, we don't have enough screens for that. But these are the lineups as well. 2 suspensions for Lille in Andre and Mandy, which were covered at the beginning of this stream. So let's get that in the live chat too. And now Aston Villa versus Celtic. So despite the links to Arsenal, Ollie Watkins does start against Celtic. It's Emi Martinez in goal, Cash, Concert, Tielemans, Watkins, Dean, Bogard, Rogers, Bailey, Ramsey, and Kamara. Celtic also going very strong, of course. And the substitutes can also be seen, and you can check them out yourself by going on the link I posted in the live chat. Now, Girona versus Arsenal. Let's see who's actually starting for the Gunners. Wow, so Neto's in goal. The first time he started for Arsenal this season. Calafiori, Gabriel, Kivior, and Partey, with Marino, Jorginho, Odegaard, Trossard, Nwaneri, and Sterling. So we could see a false 9 appearance there from Nwaneri, or actually more likely, I think, will be Sterling left, Trossard as the false 9, and Nwaneri on the right. I think that's what we'll see from the Gunners. And Girona there with the 1 suspension in Brahim Gil. So those are the benches as well. Martinelli, Tierney, Saliba, Timber, Sinchenko, Havertz, Rice, Lewis Skelly. I think that makes complete sense. Havertz needed a rest. He was absolutely decimated at the end of the Wolves game. So last but not least, of course, Real Madrid's lineup was covered at the very beginning because they love posting the lineups like 2-3 hours in advance and flexing their muscles. So yeah, it's Courtois in goal, Mendy, Rudiger, Tchouameni, Vasquez, Bellingham, Modric, Valverde, Brahim Diaz, Rodrigo, and Mbappe. And Brest, who had a very good start to the Champions League season, are faltering in this competition, and Los Merengues can actually leapfrog them with a victory tonight. And the benches are the following. Vinicius, of course, is suspended, and that is the final link I'm going to post in this chat, unless something else happens last minute. But yeah, very, very chaotic. Like I said, if there are any lineups you're unsure about, just rewind, because I've covered all of it, one after the other. Everything you need to know from suspensions, injuries, benchings, and of course, the players actually starting. So let's start building my 11, or start thinking about it. Let's refresh the page and see if UCL Fantasy can deal with all the stuff. So yeah, as you can see, it's actually not too bad. It's like I've got no goalkeeper. Alisson, of course, isn't in the squad. Di Gregorio, or Greg, as we say in succession, he is benched as well. Raul Asensio out. Salah, of course, not in the squad, but I've got Kimmich and Boscagli, so I could field an 11 or 10 players and then make a goalkeeper transfer and I'm okay. But with the limitless, or the wildcard in my case, I could really improve this quite substantially. So I could go for Harry Kane up front. I could also buy Musiala, well, not Musiala, he's benched. I could buy Bellingham or Elise in for Salah, and then make a few upgrades elsewhere. I mean, Boscagli, for example, I don't want in my starting 11. So I'm going to put a poll out now, and then afterwards I'll start kind of tinkering, seeing what we can come up with on the wildcard / limitless. It's all about your starting 11. Wirtz is my current captain. If I were to bring in Harry Kane, he will end up taking the armband instead, I think. But that isn't clear cut. Nothing's definitive. It's not terrible. I mean, all things considered, I've got 10 players in my 11 without making any transfers. So Yeah, chaotic, as we all expected. Yeah, right now it'd be Kane for me, but Verts is absolutely fine. Okay. Let's see, can I get rid of that? That's a bit annoying. All right, there we go. So yeah, that's what I'm going to discuss now. It's not locked in for me yet, as I've got 10 players available. I'm going to put a poll and see what you lot think, but it's crossing my mind. I'm still very tempted to use the wild card. So with 10 starting players and 2 free transfers, would you activate the wild card? Let's see if we can get this done quickly. So 2 free transfers, -4 hit, and the other option will be wild card. All right, let's see if we can set that up. We've got over 1,000 people watching. I know every UCL Fantasy stream is very busy, but of course, I imagine this one was always going to be very in demand because of the nature of all the games happening at the same time. Drop a like if you found this content useful. All the lineups have been covered, all the kind of surprising benchings or omissions from the squad. Everything you need to know for Matchday 8 is covered in this stream. And by watching my videos like the best wildcard and limitless team, as well as my team selection, you get the full package in terms of UCL Fantasy content. So yeah, drop a like if you haven't already. It costs nothing. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a single upload for UCL Fantasy or FPL. There is more content headed your way, of course, for Double Game Week 24. If you are a member or patron, that best wildcard team is available to you for the double this weekend. So free transfers is actually winning the vote. The wildcard is second with 31%. That is very interesting to say the least, but we'll talk about that very soon. Yeah, Frimpong's starting. He's starting, and like I said, you can rewind or check the links I've put in the live chat, and you will see everything you need to know. Mbappe, Lewandowski, Kane, Haaland, Chan. Only pick one. Yeah, it's going to be Harry Kane for me, but it's very, very tight. Gerassi or Schick? Gerassi. Chan or Kunde? Chan. Is it worth to take a -4 to get a goalkeeper? I'm in a similar boat to you, mate. I don't think so, but you might be down to 10 men if that's the case and you've got no playing goalkeeper. That's not ideal, but I'm not a big fan of taking a hit involving a goalkeeper. If it was me personally, and I had a starting option like Di Gregorio, and I could take a hit to bolster my defense, midfield, and forward line, I'd actually be very inclined to not use the wild card, but I just don't like using a hit on a goalkeeper. It really pays off, especially with just one match day to go and a lot of uncertainty. I think we'll get some surprises tonight with the scorelines. Limitless now or later, I don't know your teammate. I think in some cases it makes sense to use it now. I just don't like the fact that with the Limitless, the best aspect of it is that you can have a 15-man squad of expensive players. You can't really do that. I mean, you can do it, but you've got 4 players on your bench who aren't going to score points for you because you can't make subs or change the captaincy. I think it really limits the Limitless, ironically. So that's why I always recommended using it between match days 2 to 7. Rodrigo or Alvarez? Very, very close. I'd lean towards Alvarez this week, but Rodrigo's absolutely fine. Elise or Foden? Foden. But I like Elise. If I'm wildcarding, I'll probably go for both of them. Marius says, Mo, Lewandowski, Gyökeres to Mbappe, Rodrigo, Bellingham, -4. Yeah, great transfers in general. I would consider diversifying your attack a little bit, though. As good as Madrid are, Brest is still not the easiest of opponents. I think Madrid will win comfortably, to be fair, and all 3 of them are great, but you might want to go for Harry Kane instead of Mbappe, or maybe Elise instead of Bellingham, for example, perhaps even Gerassi instead of Rodrigo. But yeah, that's what I'd suggest, maybe going for a Bayern Munich attacker as well, and really honing in on that Bratislava fixture for Bayern Munich. Gittins is staying. If I wildcard, probably not, because I think my best wildcard / limitless team would involve Rafinha, Foden, Bellingham. I mean, Gittins is fine, but I'd probably go for Elise instead. Bench Frimpong or Grimaldo? That's like a toss-up, right? Probably going to be Grimaldo. Raya is benched RM Clips. It's going to be Neto in goal. Did I say Pedro Neto earlier, by the way? I didn't mean to say that. It's Norberto Neto. But yeah, Raya's not playing, so it's going to be Martinez, very, very simply. Playing Walter Benitez versus Liverpool or using a transfer? If it's a free transfer, I'd recommend doing that. Benitez is a good goalkeeper. He is facing a rotated Liverpool side, so if PSV won 1-0 or kept a clean sheet, it wouldn't completely surprise me. But Liverpool still have enough quality up front with Gakpo, for example, to cause some troubles. And yeah, I think it's a close one. But if you're in a luxury position, should I say, or in a luxurious position where you can make a free transfer on a goalkeeper, I'd recommend it. Haaland or Kane, both excellent. I'd recommend Harry Kane instead, but we're talking about very fine margins here. And Dortmund, what about them? I covered them in detail earlier. I think they've been in terrible form, but Guirassi's the best of a bad bunch. I like Gittins for his value, but he's been a bit disappointing for me personally. Then you've got Schlotterbeck and Emre Can at the back who are okay. Köbel in goal isn't the worst goalkeeper, but he was much better last season. Guirassi's a good choice, but on the limitless, I'd be going for Haaland, Kane and Mbappe. Foden, Jude or Rafinha, says Adam. It's probably Foden for me. Yeah, any questions about Raya? He is not starting, so don't start Raya. Check the lineups, and I covered them literally just 10 minutes ago. I covered every single lineup back to back, so don't start Raya. Foden or Barcola? Foden. I'm just short for Foden, so I'm thinking for Elise. Yeah, like I just mentioned now, my favourite midfield four would include Elise and Foden, so that's absolutely fine. I'd sell Musiala if you can, but remember what happened with Lookman last week where people sold him because he was benched, and then he comes off. He was absolutely amazing in that brief cameo, and he gets a goal and an assist. But yeah, I'd rather go to Elise, Bellingham, Foden, and Rafinha. Elise or Bellingham? I'd favour Elise for the fixture, but it's really close, and Bellingham has been brilliant recently. Guirassy or Alvarez for Gyökeres? Guirassy. Yeah, sorry mate, Hasib, spamming like that, it's just not going to be answered. So just be patient, and you'll have everything answered. So just be very, very calm. 8.8 million forward or less. Guirassy is probably my favourite. Thank you, Mitra, for the super chat. Haaland or Mbappe? Probably Haaland. I think the fact he's at home, facing Club Brugge, and he's showing good form in general, of course not to the same level as Mbappe, but look, that could go either way, and in a limitless team, I'd have both of them. Also, top three captaincy choices. Kane, Wirtz, and maybe Haaland as my top three, but I think you could easily put any other options like Mbappe himself in that list. Rodrigo's not even too shabby, but that's my current top three on paper. I'd start Gabriel over Theo, but Arsenal are rotating quite a bit. Even their goalkeeper, of course, David Raya, is getting a rest. Yeah, Lewandowski's fine to keep. You know, he hasn't been mentioned much in Matchday 8. He is facing Atalanta. That's a tough game, but I like Lewandowski still. He's the top scorer in this competition. Stones or Chan? I would go for... I think I'd go for John Stones, but not a big fan of both teams defensively. Should I keep Yamal? In most cases, I'd say yes, but Rafinha is an upgrade. I'm on limitless. Would you go Bellingham or De Bruyne? Bellingham, but to be fair, De Bruyne is a great option as well. That's a nice differential. If you want to just go against the crowd, I think De Bruyne is a brilliant shout. Yeah, but I've mentioned this all week. Bellingham would be in my best limitless team. Thank you, Oscar, for the super chat. If you've got a question, let me know in the comments. And yeah, I'm just going to have to put a reminder or something in the chat. So yeah, just be patient, lads. I get it. It's chaotic. You want to have your questions answered, but calma. We're not going to get anywhere like that. So let's see if I can pin this comment. And let's whiz through these. So yeah, in terms of the poll, 44% of you are recommending free transfers. A -4 hit is suggested by 32% and the wildcard just by 24%. That's very interesting. I thought more of you would be on board with the wildcard, but yeah, I've got a lot of starting players here. Maybe the wildcard could be more useful later in the competition. I mean, look, let's break it down here. Let's go to the transfer section and see what we can conjure up. So, I mean, bringing Harry Kane would just probably not possible for me. I think I've got bigger fish to fry or bigger issues to deal with than Alvarez, Mbappe or Haaland, who all start. Maybe Alvarez will be benched or be subbed off around 60, 70 minutes. That's a possibility. But Salah, of course, makes way. That makes sense. I can go to Elise or Bellingham, maybe Foden. But in my case, without a buying attacker, I think it would have to be Elise for me. I don't really count Kimmich as that, to be quite honest with you. So it could be Elise, Gittins, Wirtz, Rafinha. That's okay, I guess. I can also go for Denzel Dumfries instead of Raul Asensio, or it could just be any of these players. I might just get rid of Boscagli. I mean, does it really matter? Not really. Budget's not an issue. So let's get Denzel Dumfries here. And in my case, I need to change my goalkeeper, but it would be for a -4 here. Not a big fan of that. So maybe something I could do actually is Jan Sommer in goal. I could go for Gvardiol or Frimpong, which I talked about in my team selection video. And that looks pretty decent, but yeah, it's a -4 hit involving a goalkeeper. Just far from ideal, to be honest. Far from ideal. Theo or Pacho? I'd favour Pacho. Haaland or Kane? Kane. But once again, talking about very fine margins, they're both excellent. You can't go wrong, I think. Yeah, we get unlimited transfers for matchday 9 and 11. Yeah. Wirtz. Well, okay, yeah, the chat's absolutely crazy right now. I get it. Best portero? I think Sommer. It's a tough game, but Inter Milan have the best defense in Europe. 1 goal conceded in the Champions League. Sane or Pulisic? I'd favour Sane this week, but yeah, the days of me bigging up Sane from 2-3 years ago are kind of long gone. I don't think he's the same player. He missed a big chance against Feyenoord the other night, but yeah, with a fixture in mind, I'd go for Sane. Gittins or Elise? Elise. Heidelin by Martinez or Neuer? Probably Neuer, but also bear in mind, do you want Bayern Munich attackers or just outfield players in general? That could be Kim Min-jae, maybe another defender, but yeah, it's going to be Neuer in isolation. Thank you, Aranya, for the super chat. Let's get to your question. Use 1 free transfer for Lewandowski to Alvarez or hold. Need the other free transfer for goalkeeper move. So if I keep Lewandowski, my mids, Rafinha, Wirtz, Kun, and Gittins aren't ideal. I wouldn't be selling Lewandowski to Alvarez, no. The only good thing about that is, of course, Alvarez is in great form, but you also get more money from that. But I'd rather focus on your midfield or other positions where you could bolster it a little bit. I mean, Kun, Gittins are absolutely fine, but could they be better or upgraded on in matchday 8? I think so, especially in the case of Kun. So I wouldn't sell Lewandowski. If you don't do wildcard, when will you do it? Just later in the season when I need it. Maybe I could go for more aggressive punts in the knockout stages, for example, and go for players from teams I expect to be eliminated, but I can still get some returns, before their elimination. So yeah, look, there's no like definitive time or, best opportunity to use the wildcard and Limitless. I just think there's a window. With the Limitless, it's matchday 2 to 7. The wildcard is pretty much team dependent. But yeah, in my case, it's like a luxury using the wildcard this week, but it does improve my squad. It's going to be a decision I'm going to make quite late on, but hopefully not too late. I want to lock in my team as soon as possible. So what I'll probably do is make transfers already, so I've got something settled. And if I decide to use a late wildcard, I can then pull the trigger and make the necessary changes. But yeah, it should be a good one. Be very careful with the deadline, of course, is 8 p.m, 48 minutes from now. You can see the timer on screen. Well, not now, but when we get to the other screen, you will see it. Captain Wirtz or Mbappe? Probably Wirtz. They're both great, though. I think that's another super chat in the building. Let's get that up. For some reason, the goals aren't actually functioning properly. Yeah, sorry, Nehal. I'm not sure why. Yeah, YouTube is a bit weird like that. It doesn't actually show up your message. So Musiala to Foden, KDB or Pulisic. See if I can get your message on screen. Yeah, my favourite would be Foden. They're all good choices, and I think KDB is a brilliant shout as a differential. If you want to go Maverick, I think that's a great opportunity, but it's going to be Foden for me. Haaland or Mbappe, that's been covered, yeah. So apologies, Nehal. Hopefully you got it now. Paredes says, calma, calma. Thanks, Dylan, for the great content. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure seeing you in the deadline streams. Yeah, YouTube for some reason still says 1 out of 10 in the super chat goal. I'm pretty sure we've reached it already. Yeah, we have. So I appreciate those that have been sending in the super chats. Another one is by Sasko Reacts 2. Bench Gabriel or Rudiger? Well, Arsenal have rotated quite a bit, whilst Madrid are going arguably stronger, and of course they need to in their predicament. I'd lean towards Gabriel, personally, but it's a very close call. Madrid have more to play for, because Arsenal are already almost guaranteed a direct qualification spot. But I'd go for Gabriel. Joachim says, evening mate, Gittins and Kane or Foden and Garassi? Elise already, worth getting Raya to summer for a -4 or play Benitez versus Liverpool? I'd go for Benitez in this case. I'm not a big fan of taking a hit for goalkeeper, which I might need to do if I want a full starting 11. Admire your stamina on these streams, mate. Keep it up. Thank you very much, and it's always good talking to you in these UCL Fantasy streams. All the best for Matchday 8, and hopefully it's a green arrow to round off the league phase. So thank you to everyone who sent in a super chat and all the patrons and members. You all massively appreciate, and it keeps the channel going, of course, with UCL Fantasy and FPL content. Yeah, best limitless picks. Not much has changed, I believe. So Gabriel, for example, was in that 50-man squad. He starts today, so that's fine. The major change will be Musiala. I'd sell him and go to Elise potentially, or even Kevin De Bruyne would be a nice shout. But yeah, Musiala's the one to go, of course. Captain Kane or Wirtz? Kane, but very close again. Hi, by Martinez or Neuer? If you're sure you don't want other Bayern Munich players elsewhere, because you've got a limit of 3 players per club right now, I'd rather go for Neuer. Gittins or Kimmich? Haaland or Kane? Gittins and Kane, but the last question in particular is extremely close to say the least. Lewandowski or Gittins on the bench? I'd rather bench Gittins than start Lewandowski. Kobel or Israel in goal? Probably Kobel. Very close. So yeah, that's also covered there. Mbappe, Kane, Haaland, Alvarez, choose 3, please. Basically, I'd leave out Alvarez. Kane, Foden y Grimaldo, o Mbappe, Olise y Grimaldo por menos 4 puntos. Sí, para mí está bien. Sí, ambos están muy bien, pero mi preferencia sería... Bueno, yeah, Kane y Foden o Mbappe y Olise. Yo haría por Kane y Foden. Así que Foden, Kane y Grimaldo está muy bien. Do I start Kun or bring in Garassi for a -4? I'd be tempted by that -4 hit, not going to lie. Kun's been really good for his value this season, but I could see a lot of value in taking that hit, actually. I think I'd do it, but that's just my take. I could be wrong about that. Thank you, Aaron, for the super chat as well. Start Bellingham and Alistair, Johnston, or start DeMarco and Kun. Basically debating using last transfer on Bellingham or DeMarco. Thanks and good luck. Ooh, I'd rather buy Bellingham than DeMarco. But you could argue that the Inter Milan wingback has more avenues to points. But over the last couple of years under Inzaghi, he does get subbed off around 60-70 minutes, which can be to your benefit, but not always. I'd rather go for Bellingham in this case. He's been in brilliant form too. Thank you, Marcus. Thanks, Dylan. You're one of the only content creators that answer most questions. Really appreciate your help and advice. Very, very kind words from you. Dear sir, thank you very much. And also good luck to you. And hopefully you enjoy the chaotic Matchday 8 deadline. Best goalkeeper to use, I'd argue, is Sommer. I don't think there's a clear standout, though. Bradley or Frimpong or Koundé? Frimpong, for sure. Yeah, Frimpong. Hola, Dylan. Tengo a Wirtz, Foden, Rafinha y Olise. ¿A quién cambiarías? Para mí está bien. Me gustan mucho esos mediocampistas. Está muy bien. No tienes que cambiar algo, así que no tengo problemas con Wirtz, Foden, Rafinha y Olise. Kim Min-jae or Frimpong? Frimpong. Musiala, Gyökeres, De Ketelaere to Wirtz, Kane and Alvarez for a hit, or sell Salah, Van Dijk as well. Also have Israel, Raya in goal. Well, you could start Israel. Raya's benched, so yeah, that doesn't really... Yeah, I'd leave Raya on the bench, start Israel. And do you need to sell Salah and Van Dijk? That's the question. I think what you're doing already is absolutely fine. Yeah. I mean, the alternative is to keep Gyökeres and sell Salah to a different midfielder, but still buy Wirtz and Harry Kane, if you catch my drift. That's the only thing I'd probably recommend in your case to reconsider. The rest is absolutely fine. Kane, Wirtz, Olise. Which one for captain? It's Kane for me, but they're all brilliant. Thank you, Emily, for the super chat. Do you think Yildiz will save Juventus today? I have a feeling. I just felt it. Well, he was rested in match day 7. He was coming off the back of a small injury, I believe. Yeah, I think Juventus, you know, they're kind of called terrorists in UCL Fantasy terms. They're the only team to have no goals in that game, in that 0-0 draw against Club Brugge in match day 7. But Yeah, I think Yildiz is one of the more appealing assets up front for Juventus there. It's difficult to say, though. I mean, I'd rather go for players from teams that are more kind of expressive and offensive. I think Juventus, you'd rather invest in their defenders or goalkeeper in this case. But yeah, Yildiz, I think, is probably the best of a bad bunch up front. That's the way I'd look at it. He had a great start to the Champions League this season as well, and he's got a lot of potential. So not a terrible shout. I think it's pretty decent. I just don't like Juventus attackers in general because of their style of play. They're very defensive, hence why they've only got one loss in Serie A, and they were unbeaten for so many months. Foden or Elise? Foden, but they're both really good choices. I mean, we're talking about 50-50 calls, one after the other with these questions, and I get it, but we'll wait and see how it turns out. Buy Schick or Wirtz? I'd rather buy Wirtz. Captain Kane or Mbappe? Is probably going to be Kane for me. I'm going to start making some transfers at least and having something settled because I don't want to leave this to the last minute. So with these provisional moves, I could buy Sommer for Di Gregorio. Well, to be fair, it could just be Alisson just to give more money. Who gives a crap at this point? But yeah, bye-bye Alisson and welcome Sommer, I guess. Is it even worth it? Probably not. Yeah, because then it's Kim Min-jae, Grimaldo, Kubarsi I could start and avoid the hit for Gvardiol. That's a possibility for me. Yeah. I mean, look, what I think is probably best is to compare it to what I could do if I decide to wildcard or limitless. So let's see. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just doing that has caused a lot of lag. That's brilliant. Thank you so much. Let's get this here. All right. So yeah, let's build a kind of wildcard team here. So Sommer in goal. I can just go for any cheap goalkeeper. It's not really relevant. I'll just go for the cheapest one. So yeah, he's also starting. That's brilliant. Grimaldo stays. Kim Min-jae, fine to stay. Oh yeah, Kubarsi. Wait, yeah, he's benched anyway, isn't he? Yeah, he's benched. Yeah. So yeah, don't worry. I'm pretty much down a few players actually. If we go back to my team, let's see if I can refresh this without anything happening. To be fair, I don't think I needed to, but yeah, Kubarsi is benched as well. So yeah, I need to get a defender as well, don't I? I don't want to start Boscagli against Liverpool. Some of you have a similar situation with Benitez in goal. Yeah, so let's see. All right, so yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, it might not be absolutely necessary, but I am very tempted to use the wildcard today. Just saying. But let's take it slow. Let's take it very, very slow. I've still got 10 players, but I'd say 2 of them, maybe even 3, could be improved upon. Of course, my goalkeeper will be a good place to start since I've got no one there. So yeah, buying Elise. Yeah, it's still going to be Boscagli out. And we can get Gvardiol for now. That's one option. If not, I might just go for Frimpong as I originally planned and double up on Leverkusen defensively, go for that sort of maverick play. But if I were to wildcard, let's bring in some of these options. So Frimpong, let's go for Gvardiol again, and then just a cheap, to be honest, one of them could just be cheaped out as well. So let's also go to, yeah, we'll go for this guy. Gittins out, Salah out. And to be fair, Gittins could stay. We'll see that very soon. Bellingham in. Oh yeah, Kimmich as well out. We can go for Elise here. And Foden, but of course I'd have to bench one of them if I also want 3 attackers. So not absolutely necessary. Yeah, the wildcard's going to be chaotic today. It's going to be very difficult to know for sure if it's actually worthwhile until we see the end points, and then we'll see either a big regret or something else, hopefully some points. So yeah, as you can see here, if I wanted Mbappe, Kane and Haaland, I would have to make some downgrades elsewhere. Maybe I go from Bellingham to just a cheap midfielder. So we'll go for Tabby here. And then we can cheap out one of Gvardiol or Grimaldo. Well, or Frimpong, actually. Let's try with Frimpong. Yeah, we can just go to a cheap option here. Maybe Kivior. There you go. So yeah, 0.2 million in the bank. So with the wild card, I could do something like this. Have Sommer in goal, Grimaldo, Kim Min-jae and Gvardiol. Then Wirtz, Elise, Rafinha and Foden with Haaland, Kane and Mbappe up front. Let me know if you would wildcard that. The alternative is using maybe free transfers for a hit, of course, which includes buying Sommer in goal. Not particularly ideal. then buying Gvardiol and Elise. And that 11 would be Sommer, Kim Min-jae, Gvardiol, and Grimaldo. So identical to my Limitless, or should I say my wildcard. But the midfield is slightly different. So I've got Elise, Gittins, Wirtz, and Rafinha, which is still quite strong actually. And the front line is Alvarez, Mbappe, and Haaland. To be honest, when you put it like that, the biggest miss is Harry Kane. And if he goes off massively and I end up captaining him with a wildcard, that of course is a massive difference. But apart from that, I don't see too many. Yeah, it's not like a massive upgrade in my opinion. Maybe you disagree. I want to see your thoughts, of course, in the live chat. I do appreciate all the feedback you give throughout all my UCL Fantasy content. Yeah, let me just appease my OCD and make sure it's the same. Who cares anyway? Yeah, let's see what you lot think in the live chat. If there are any super chats that have been missed, they will be covered right now. So Okken says Kane and Frimpong, cost of a -4, or Schick and Kim Min-jae for no hit. I'd go for Kane and Frimpong for a hit, but that is a brilliant question as well. I think Schick and Kim Min-jae is a very decent set of transfers, but Kane and Frimpong, yeah, I'd take the hit for that. Valen de Don says, is a Brest player too risky? They're at home. Well, they started really well in the Champions League this season, but they are facing Madrid, who are in great form themselves, and I could only see one winner in this game. So, yes, it is risky. Could it pay off? Possibly, especially in attacker. I don't think Madrid are great defensively, which is why I didn't recommend Courtois or many defenders in my Limitless and Wildcard videos. Only Rudiger, really, and that's kind of a luxury you don't really need. So, yeah, I definitely wouldn't advise having a Brest goalkeeper or defender, pause, but in terms of attackers, it's not the worst in the world. I just would rather upgrade and go for a better player in your starting 11. So, let's see what you lot think. Were there any comments about... no, I don't think there was. Butcher says transfers. Fair enough, if that's what you think. I do appreciate it. Yeah, selling Salah, I don't see any standout mids already having the main ones. Well, Bellingham, De Bruyne could be some to entertain. But you've got a lot of good midfielders already. Kane or Mbappe? It would be Kane, yeah. Koundé or Chan? I would recommend Emre Can. I think Atalanta score even without Lookman, actually. Start Lenglet or Mittelstadt? Lenglet. For captain, you put Wirtz or Kane. If I end up bringing Kane in, he will likely be my captain, but Wirtz is a close second. Wirtz versus Foden, Florian Wirtz. They're both great. Should I start Schlotterbeck or Theo Hernandez? Schlotterbeck. Not a big fan of either this week, but they're decent. I mean, they're not the worst options in the world. I just think there are better, like Kim Min-jae, Grimaldo, Frimpong, Dumfries, maybe Gabriel as well. Elise or Foden? It would be Foden for me, but it's really close. Hi Dylan, Oblak or Sommer, and Rafinha or Dembele, keep up the good work. It would be Sommer, but I do like Oblak. He was, in fact, both of them were in my best Limitless team the other day. Rafinha or Dembele, it'd be Rafinha, and it has been the case all season. Sommer or Dibu? Sommer. Thank you, Ignacio. Grande Dylan. Captaincy para Prince Harry, Kylian, Wirtz or Haaland. Sería Harry Kane para mí. I've only got 7 starting players. Is it worth a -8 to field 11? Yeah, I think so, but if you've got the wild card, I'd suggest using it, even the Limitless as well, actually. But yeah, try not to go over a -8. Love the Foden punt, but we've seen how sturdy Bruges can be. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they have been a bit surprising this season. They beat Aston Villa 1-0 a couple of months ago, but yeah, I think Man City at the Etihad, with their recent form, especially in the league, they're scoring goals again. You'd still expect them to get a few goals there. Best mids under 8 million. Elise, Gittins. I think there's a few that are probably escaping my mind, but those are the 2 that stand out to me. Of course, Florian Wirtz goes without saying. He's the best one. Yeah, I think Wirtz in for a -4 looks good, but who are you selling? That's my question to you. Elise or Foden? You asked that. I highlighted it. I answered. Foden for me. Gvardiol or Frimpong? Well, at the moment, I am leaning towards Gvardiol because I've got Grimaldo already, but I certainly don't mind doubling up on Leverkusen defensively. Elise or Alvarez? I'd go for Elise this week. Mbappe or Haaland? Probably Haaland. I said the same earlier as well, but it's like really fine margins. Good to see you, Haribo, as always. Hi, Dylan. Do you prefer Mbappe or Schick? I prefer Mbappe, but Schick is a good shout. I think Leverkusen could go big and win 4 or 5-0 against Sparta Prague. That's why the wing-backs are appealing. That's why Wirtz is a great captaincy option, and Patrick Schick is a nice differential up front, especially if you need that sort of mid-price forward in your setup. Best striker for 8.3 million, already have Alvarez. Yeah, I think it's between the likes of Guirassy, Schick, as Haribo just mentioned. You could maybe go for Thuram, but yeah, I think I'd stick to one of the others. I think Guirassy is my favourite. Start Musiala or Kun. I'd still go for Musiala, actually, despite the benching. Kimmich plays as a defender. I'm not a big fan of him myself, mate. If I could, I'd sell him, but it's a luxury transfer in my position. It depends, Thomas. How many players do you have out? Do you have 10, 11 starting players already? Are you happy with them? But I think the wildcard or Limitless is fine to use this week. Good luck, Rajat, as well. Pulisic is decent, but there are better options in Matchday 8 for me. Aranya says, get Sommer or Foden. Foden. Start Gittins or Kun. Gittins for me. And Yerol, as I mentioned earlier, it would be Musiala over Kun, despite Musiala being benched. Griezmann or Alvarez. Alvarez. Kane or Haaland or Schick. Kane. Charbel says, choose 3 of the defenders. Gabriel, Grimaldo, Frimpong, Dumfries, Kim Min-jae with Sommer in goal. Frimpong is good, yeah. Grimaldo's first for me. I'd go for Kim Min-jae, and the other one will likely be Frimpong. Yeah, I'd go for both wing-backs. Reluctantly, I'd bench Gabriel, even though Arsenal could keep a clean sheet tonight. -8 or wildcard? That's a good question. Now, look, Ali, what I'd say is, would the -8 hit get you the exact starting 11 that the wildcard would? If that's the case, I'd be slightly tempted. But if there's also a few differences on top of that, where with the wildcard you can bring in Harry Kane, whilst with the -8 hit you can't, then I'd probably suggest using the wildcard. But it all depends on those circumstances. Is Leao a good option? Decent, just like Pulisic. He has been in good form recently, but a bit inconsistent with the goal contributions. He always has been. Top 3 for captains this week. As I mentioned before, I was asked this question earlier. Probably Kane first, Wirtz second, and maybe Haaland third. But that is based on how it looks on paper. Football and UCL Fantasy is not played that way. We could see a differential like Schick or Kevin De Bruyne doing the goods. But that's my top 3 based on the combination of form, fixture, their records, and the opponents. I mean, there's a lot of different factors, of course. Bellingham, Rafinha, or Foden? For this match day, it's probably Foden. Gyökeres, Saliba, Van Dijk, Trent, all not starting. I'm guessing to do a wild card. What do you think? Yeah, if you're struggling for a good starting 11 and you think a wild card can really boost you, I'd suggest using a chip. Good to see you as well. Well, I've got a few more super chats here. So thank you, Sheriff. Always a pleasure, mate. So have Vinicius, Salah, and no keeper. Only Miller on the bench to field. Should I play him and sell Vinicius and a keeper, bench Salah, or take a hit and sell all Vinicius, Salah, and get a keeper? Suggest players, please. Yeah, I'd recommend... Miller isn't the worst, to be fair. He could score against PSG, but I'd probably recommend the -4, so you can buy Elise for Milot or for Salah, and then you can displace Milot that way. I don't know who you have in your squad already, because even the likes of Foden, Rafinha, who I'm guessing you have already, and Bellingham would be great transfers in the midfield. Up front, I'd suggest one of Kane, Mbappe, or Haaland. Even the likes of Guirassy are absolutely fine, but yeah, on paper, I'd be suggesting Foden, Kane, and Sommer in goal would be a really good choice between the sticks. JBR says, Grimaldo, Frimpong, Gvardiol, Kim Min-jae start 3. Yeah, Grimaldo for me. I'd definitely start by Leverkusen wing back. And I'd probably go for Kim Min-jae and Gvardiol. So unfortunately, I'd bench Frimpong, which could be a mistake or it could be very frustrating. You could argue that benching one of the others, especially Gvardiol with Man City's recent defensive woes, might be like the safer place, so to speak, where if he does get a return, it's not going to be as huge as Frimpong's high ceiling. It could go wrong either way. I'm not going to sugarcoat it to you, but I would probably diversify your defense and bench Frimpong in this case, but very, very close call, and it could go the other way. So thank you to everyone for sending the super chats. We're getting so many today and a lot of different questions. We have covered pretty much everything you need to know. Drop a like if you haven't already. show love to the channel. It all costs nothing, actually, and I do appreciate it. It pushes up in the algorithm. This is the go-to place for UCL fantasy content and FPL, and there is more headed your way in the coming days. If you are a patron or member, check out my Double Gimmick 24 best wildcard team. But before I talk about doubles and FPL, let's focus on UCL fantasy and let's make some transfers. So yeah, what you see on screen is the difference for me between a -4 and the wildcard chip, where essentially I cheap out my bench. I go for a 3.8 million goalkeeper as my backup, also a 3.8 million defender with Kivior, who will be on my bench, and the same goes for a 4 million option in the midfield, and the others will be in my starting 11 with this wildcard team. It looks very strong, but really if we compare them, it's Kane over Alvarez, it's Foden instead of Gittins, which to be fair is an upgrade in my opinion, and then we're looking at pretty much the same defensive line. So is it really worth the wildcard chip? I mean, who knows at this point? We're talking about 2 free players here, but one of them is Harry Kane, who is arguably the best captaincy option in Matchday 8. So before I go back to more questions and stuff, I want to show you a few different probabilities according to UCL Fantasy. There is a Twitter page dedicated towards the most likely goal scorers and stuff like that. Okay, they've also got a decent kind of list here, just for anyone who is unaware, who hasn't seen the lineups that we've covered on this channel. So hopefully this loads up and doesn't cause any overloading issues. I've had a lot of issues today with technology. Hopefully I can sort them out afterwards, but it's been a real pain to navigate. So, come on. Give me a bloody break. Yeah, we can close the Madrid lineup as well. And let's get the yes, of all days. And Mbappe, Gyökeres, Sane, Gnabry, Elise, Garassi, Watkins. Alvarez, Lewandowski and Koeman, and it's worth mentioning, of course, that Musiala and Gyökeres are not starting, and in the case of the latter, he is not in the squad at all. So, yeah, that is posted from a few days ago. Well, actually, it was earlier today, wasn't it? And this is the most picked up players yet. I mean, that's not too relevant, to be fair. Notable players not starting or not playing in Matchday 8. That includes Trent, Kubarsi, Davis, Diaz, Gnabry, Gyökeres, Havertz, Lewis, Lookman, Martinelli, Musiala, Raya, Salah, Saliba, Van Dijk, and Vinicius Jr., who of course is suspended. The other graphic I wanted to show you was the clean sheet probabilities, and a lot of those top teams did factor in for the best wildcard and limitless squad I posted the other day. Yeah, this is the one. So Bayern Munich are top with a 69% chance of keeping a clean sheet. Leverkusen are second. Then we've got Man City, Atletico Madrid, Sporting, Dortmund, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Real Madrid, and Inter Milan. So yeah, maybe the likes of Summer and stuff like that. Maybe not as appealing as I kind of recommend, but they've been brilliant defensively all season, especially in the Champions League. But yeah, that's what the bookies or the odds are kind of suggesting at the moment. That might help you with some of your transfers and decisions to make. But yeah, we've got 22 minutes. Let's see if we've got any new questions and stuff. A lot of it has been covered already in this stream, and I do appreciate those that have been showing support. Thank you, Sheriff, as well. Which midfielder out of Foden, Jude, and Wirtz best captain? It would be Wirtz for me. I like the other two, and they both feature in the best wildcard and limitless squad that I posted recently, but I think Wirtz would be my favourite captain out of the lot. Just did a -8 with Kane, Elise, Foden, Rafinha, Wirtz, Lewandowski, and Alvarez in my attacking line. Oh, that looks really good. I like that. I mean, I'm tempted to take a hit for Kane myself, but it would mean selling one of Alvarez. Yeah, and all the other options up front. But that looks really, really good. Yeah, like I said, Richard Milichip, quite a lot of issues today with technology. Hopefully it doesn't happen again, but hopefully the most of it was quite decent. What's the Twitter account? It's UCL Fantasy. It's UCL_fantasy. So just type it on Twitter and you can find it. I'll post a link now to the likely goal scorers, which they posted earlier. Of course, some of it is out of date now, but yeah, that is what I used. Double on Leverkusen or Kim, Gvardiol, Hakimi. I'd probably double up on Leverkusen defensively here and possibly bench Hakimi, which is a bit risky. Trossard worth it to cover Arsenal attack? I personally wouldn't go there. It's not a terrible shout, but Arsenal have been struggling in front of goal. They need a striker and a winger. Nah, I probably wouldn't go there myself. Other goalkeepers than Sommer? Well, I think looking at that list of the most likely teams to keep a clean sheet would be very useful. Of course, Neuer would be ideal, but a lot of you might triple up and buy in already with Kane, Elise, and Kim Min-jae, for example. You could also look at the Bayer Leverkusen goalkeeper, but I think Frimpong and Grimaldo would be the preference there. So really, when you break it down, I think Neto's a decent shout for Arsenal. You might even consider Courtois. Oblak against Salzburg looks really decent. So that's the sort of thing I'd probably look towards, actually. So if you haven't already, drop a like. Let's get the stream to over 300 likes at the very least. And let's keep on pushing towards new goals like 32,000 subscribers. And we are getting closer and closer towards that milestone. Check all the links in the description below for my Patreon, the Championships Discord server, UCL Fantasy League, and Spotify. You still opting for Wirtz versus Haaland? Yeah, I think Wirtz over Haaland just about. Once again, though, I mean, you can ask me today or yesterday or after the deadline, it's going to be really close. But I've been consistent on Wirtz all week. I think the only one I'd rank above him is Harry Kane. Likewise, Angel Gachaga, good to see you. Bench Gittins or Reinders? I'd rather bench Reinders. ¿Dejas a Valverde o Gittins? Prefiero a Gittins en la alineación. Foden, Mbappe or Haaland, Jude? I think Haaland, Jude. That's extremely close, actually. I'd probably go for Foden and Mbappe, but that's 50-50. That's very, very close. I think both duos could go off. Can't buy Kane due to budget, so I buy Garassi to replace Mbolo instead. That's fine. I think Kane is an upgrade, but there is a big difference in price, of course, which makes sense. I think Oblak over Neuer, and you might want free Bayern Munich outfield players instead. I've only got 7 starting players. You did ask this earlier, mate, and I did answer it. It all depends on the context. If that -8 hit kind of matches a wild card for you, then that's fine. I wouldn't be looking to take more than a -8 if possible, but it just depends on which players you're buying and selling. Of course, I'm guessing the players you're selling are going to be benched, left out, or they're injured/suspended, so that makes sense, but the players you're bringing in will be crucial. Tielemans or Reinders? I prefer Tielemans. I prefer Gittins over Valverde. Foden over Bellingham for me, but they're both good. Thank you, Horacio. Good luck to you as well. Kazi, okay, no, thank you. Tustapaki for moderating the chat. No spamming, lads. Otherwise, your question won't be answered. Start Adeyemi or Rafinha? Rafinha. Yeah, it's going to be that. Since we have 11 players starting, what will be the rest of the 4 players' points? Well, the points on your bench don't count. They're irrelevant. It's all about your starting 11. If you've got 11 players who start today or who play a minute, automatic subs won't take place. So, yeah, it's all about your 11 and having the captaincy pretty much settled. Best captaincy options, yeah. As I mentioned before, Kane, Wirtz, and Haaland is my current top 3 on paper. But you've got so many this week. I think De Bruyne as an outside differential shout. You've got Bellingham. I think Rodrigo's decent. There are so many different great options. I mean, Grimaldo and Frimpong at the back. It can go on and on and on. But that's my top 3 right now. Lamine or Gittins? Probably Gittins. Foden or De Bruyne? Foden. I do like De Bruyne as a differential shout if you want to go against the crowd, though. But it would be Foden for me, based on recent form and the minutes. Schick, Alvarez, or Mbappe? It's probably Mbappe for me, but they're both, well, all 3 of them are good options, actually. Worth a wildcard to upgrade Alvarez, Schlotterbeck, Karnasecchi to Mbappe, Gvardiol, Sommer. Wildcard will also cancel out the -4 hit already taken. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat to you, mate. It's very, very close. I would probably say... I'd probably say yes, it's probably worth it, but very, very close. Yeah, the wild card is such a powerful tool. It enforces permanent changes to your squad, so it's going to be very tricky to determine that. I might not see a massive difference. You might gain more points on the wild card later in the season. Joel says I would say use the wild card. Yeah, I'm going to start thinking about my own team. Otherwise, I'm not going to get anything done, and I hate when that happens, especially in UCL Fantasy. So let's see if... okay, hopefully those transitions are working well, but I'll have to double check that later. Let's go to my transfer section. So buying the likes of Sommer, this could be another goalkeeper. Gavardio and Elise looks okay. And I've got 3.3 million in the bank. I could even do Alvarez to Harry Kane if I really wanted to. Is it worthwhile? I'm not too sure. Maybe Foden for Gittins is another one I could consider. I might be a few million off though. Yeah, I'm 0.6 million off. Although I could... I mean, that would help a little bit, but it doesn't really make too much of a difference. So yeah, Gavardio in potentially. Frimpong. Yeah, very tough decisions to be made this week. I don't really see like a massive difference between the wildcard and the -4 hit in my case, but you do say 4 points already, then anything pretty much from the likes of Kane and stuff like that. Very, very tricky one this week to really assess. So yeah, free transfers is winning the poll. The wildcard is last. I'm quite surprised by that. Yeah, exactly that. The limitless is like the free hit in FPL, but the big difference, of course, is you've got an unlimited budget, which isn't really too important in Matchday 8 because your bench is irrelevant in Matchday 8 with everyone playing at the same time, which I've covered in detail for the last couple of months. But I'll be honest, I might still play, pull the trigger on this wildcard and just go for it. I'm not going to lie. So the wildcard would be confirmed if I finalize these transfers. But yeah, at the moment I've got it here. I've got it all set up just in case I want a wildcard. Because I have to be honest, it's like really fine margins. I wish it was a bit clearer cut so I could just make a decision and be done with it. Yeah, Alvarez is playing though. Yeah, I know. But you're going to Harry Kane, who for me is probably the best captaincy option this week, if not right up there. Yeah, that's just been covered. Sebastian, Kane for me. Gavardio or Frimpong. In isolation, you'd argue Frimpong. But if you've got Grimaldo already, it's all a question of do you want to risk it with that Bayer Leverkusen defense? Are you back in that cliche against Sparta Prague? But both wing-backs have so much potential. It's probably going to be Frimpong. Kun or a -4? Probably a -4, but it depends who you're buying in that case. It would be Kane over Haaland for me. I made a -12 this match day. We will see. Do you have a chip available, though? That's what I'd be asking. I'd consider using it in your case, but if you're happy with the -12, then fair enough. Would you start Elise or Rafinha? I'd start Rafinha. Yeah, Easy99, I covered that earlier. Ollie Watkins to Arsenal is a possibility. He is a boyhood Arsenal fan, and we'll wait and see if it's Duran or Watkins leaving the club. I think it's more likely Duran will, but we'll wait and see. Don't do it, save it, says Twisted Parky. Yeah, like, I don't see a massive difference, but having Harry Kane is kind of like one of the biggest appeals of the wildcard. I'm probably overthinking it, but what I am going to do is lock in my transfers and just kind of decide, do I want to go all in pretty much on that Bayer Leverkusen defense and, yeah, kind of just go all in on that. I'm going to end this poll, though, and I do appreciate the 1.6k people who voted. Thank you very much. The -4 hit was second with 33%, but ultimately free transfers prevailed with 44%. Wildcard was last, which is very interesting to say the least. Let's see if I can... All right, let's do another poll. Hopefully it doesn't cause any bloody crashes or anything like that. We've had a few issues here. Before I do, though, there is a super chat here, I believe. Yeah, by Ovidu. Hopefully I haven't butchered that. Pick two of these to play, Lewandowski, Rafinha, or Gittins. I'd go for the two Barcelona players. I like Gittins, but I would not be benching Lewandowski or Rafinha this week. I'd go for both of them. Atalanta are a good side, by the way. They're a very good side. No, I don't have it. Fair enough. Yeah. You probably would have used one of them, I'm guessing, which makes sense. Let's see. Let's put Gavardio, let's put Frimpong, and Dumfries. I think those are the three standouts for me in that defensive line. If we had more time, I'd put flags and stuff, but there's no time to make things fancy. Let's lock in our teams. Griezmann's a good captaincy option, maybe even the top 10, but I'm not sure if he's my favourite. I mean, Kane, Mbappe, Haaland, Foden. There's a few other players I'd probably go to first, but if you are feeling it, back your gut. Don't listen to a fool like me. Good to see you, and thank you, Ovidu, for that. I appreciate the kind words, and good luck. Hopefully it goes well for you. I think it makes sense to start the Barcelona attackers in your case. So yeah, thank you to all the super chatters, by the way. Like I said, it's been very chaotic today. And to all the questions that have been posed, we've got some great ones today. But yeah, pretty much most of them have been covered. Best goalkeeper up to 5 million, arguably Kobel in Matchday 8, but Dortmund have been shocking defensively. Based on recent form, I'd argue Rafael Leao over Pulisic. If it was a few match days ago, though, there would have been no debate in my mind. Start Maignan over Schmeichel? Yeah, I'd start Maignan. I'm not that confident of a clean sheet either way. In fact, I think both concede, but on paper, AC Milan will have the better chance of a clean sheet there. I am locked in. That's good. That's what I should be doing. Frimpong is winning the vote, not by much though. Gavardio is second with 39%. But yeah, I'm probably going to make some transfers. I did discuss Frimpong in my team selection video. It is kind of an all-in approach, and we'll see if that backfires massively. It's just Man City defensively have been awful, to be fair. I think I'm going to go for Frimpong over Gavardio for now. And I could go for Foden, Bellingham in that midfield to replace Salah. But having said that, yeah, I mean, it's just not ideal, is it? I mean, I would consider maybe Kimmich to Foden in this case, or I could go to Bellingham, but it would be for a -8, and I'd bench Gittins. Is that absolutely necessary? I could see Gittins being a troll to me if I were to make that move. I don't think the hit is worth it in this case. So yeah, Elise in to cover Bayern Munich offensively in some way, shape or form. Have Sommer in goal. I think that's where I'd look towards. Frimpong, Grimaldo and Kim Min-jae, Rafinha, Wirtz, Gittins, Elise, Haaland, Alvarez, Mbappe. Let's not overthink this. Bloody hell, Dylan. Get your act together, son. Yeah, let's do this. I'm going to lock this in for now. Well, I say lock in. Pause. There is still the chance of a late wild card, but at least I've got something on board here. It's done. So yeah. Brother, what's that? What's that, brother? Yeah, let's sort this bloody team out. Let's have Frimpong in the team. Hopefully I haven't made an F up somehow. So yeah. In the end, I've got 12 players. I've got Kimmich on the bench as things stand. It's pretty decent, isn't it? It's not terrible, is it? -4 hit involving a goalkeeper. I also brought Alisson back in matchday 6. Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. But there you go. We've got 7 minutes left until the deadline. Lock in your squads. Do not leave it until the last minute, which is FPL Dylan Heritage, you could say. Yeah, I've done my predicted scores, but we can have a look at that right now very quickly since it's been a while. So based on the lineups we've seen, I think PSV could get a result against Liverpool. I'm not going to lie, but let's just jinx Liverpool, right? Who cares? Sturmgrass 1, Leipzig 2, Inter Milan 1, Monaco 0, Girona 0, Arsenal 2. I might go for 2-1, but I've gone for a lot of those score lines here. I was thinking about Villa 3, Celtic 2. But let me know your predictions on the live chat for Predict 6 for these featured games. At the moment, I'm not using the wildcard, Rolando. I've taken a -4 hit. I will consider using the wildcard late on, but preferably no. Get Schmeichel or Neto? I'd rather get Neto. Start Schlotterbeck or Gonzalo Inacio? Schlotterbeck. Hopefully that helps you there. And yeah, all the super chats have been covered, which is good. Just having a double check, because sometimes YouTube can be a little bit buggy, to say the least. All right, let's whiz through these. Frimpong has won the vote, you could say, or he is winning it with 46%. Looking good, says Johnny. Fair enough. I appreciate that. Hopefully my UCL Fantasy team looks even better, though. And let's go back to that before I forget. That was my pre-transfers team. Ugh, get out of here. And that's how it looks now. So, yeah, almost locked in. I'm not going to say 100% because I'm an overthinker, tinkerer, a bit like Pep Guardiola, you could say. But yeah, that looks pretty decent. For a -4 hit, I can match a lot of wildcards and limitless, but they do have Harry Kane in their favour. There's always a lot of variance in this game. Can Gittins finally do something for me? Come on. He's never done anything for me. He's won 1 penalty in a 7-1 win against Celtic, I think it was, back in Matchday 2. Is it still no points for subs this Matchday? Yeah, nothing's changed. It's just the same for Matchday 17 for the Champions League final. For every other game week, you will have the ability to change your team with substitutions and also switching the captaincy. Kun or Kimmich? I'd say Kimmich. -8 to get Grimaldo Frimpong. No wildcard, unfortunately. Who would you be selling? And if you don't take the hit, who are you starting instead of Frimpong/Grimaldo? But yeah, I think they are worth the hit. In a lot of cases, anyway. Tell's a decent shout, but I prefer Elise. Kunde or Pavlovic? I mean, Kunde's good for ball recoveries, to be fair. I'd probably favour him, but Atalanta are a decent side. Yeah, I've got only Haaland from Man City myself, but you can't cover them all. What will be the biggest shock in this match day? Oh, good question. I mean, a lot could happen here. I think Club Brugge against City. Nah, City are going to win that. Let's see, what could we come up with? I mean, I hope Leverkusen don't drop points or concede against Sparta Prague now. I'm going all in on them with a triple up. But maybe Monaco getting a draw or scoring a goal against Inter Milan would be up there. Not the biggest shock in the world, to be fair, but Atalanta against Barcelona? Yeah, that's probably the one I'd recommend. Yeah. Atalanta maybe possibly getting a draw or a win. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, and it looks like it on paper. Hopefully it doesn't disappoint. So we are very close to locking in. Drop a like if you haven't already. It costs nothing and boosts us in the algorithm. Thank you to those that have done so already. The same goes for super chatters, patrons, and channel members. You're all massively appreciated. I can't stress that enough. Hopefully you haven't missed anything. Okay, we're all good on that front. But we've literally got less than 4 minutes until the deadline. Hey, would you recommend... Sorry, the bloody hell, the messages is bugging out. Hey, would you recommend to captain Kane or Wirtz? It would be Kane for me, but they're both great. You can't go wrong. Gittins to Foden for a -4. That's something I could do myself. I'm not sure if it's worth it, though. It's very close to really judge that. I'm going to stick with Gittins, I think, if I don't wildcard. Haaland or Kane with Foden and Elise in? Kane. So Ratchet says, would you play Kolasinac or get Dumfries for a -4? I'd probably just play Kolasinac, but good question. It's very, very close. Hey Dylan, I have Pulisic in my limitless team right now. Would you go for Bellingham? Yeah. I was very keen on Pulisic around matchday 5, but ever since his injury, he hasn't really gotten that many goals or assists, especially on the new manager, Sergio Conceição. He's not a bad option against Dinamo Zagreb. He might get a goal on his home soil, you could say. I think he descends from Croatia, but nah, I prefer others. He's not a bad option, though. If you are backing him, stick with your plan and your gut, but I prefer others like Bellingham. Bench boost wouldn't be a bad chip to bring into UCL Fantasy. For match days 8 and 17, you might be right, but for every other match day, you can make subs, so it would be redundant for 15 out of the 17 game weeks. Keep Upamecano or Kubarsi. Well, Upamecano's on the bench, to be fair. They both are. And the one that goes for Grimaldo or Pacho, doesn't really matter, right? Because it's about your starting 11. I'd buy Grimaldo, and yeah, it could be for, I say in this case, Kubarsi. Bologna beating Sporting and Celtic versus Villa. You could be onto something there. I think Villa do win, though. Oh, thank you, Johnny. I appreciate that. Hopefully, you're right. Captain Wirtz or Mbappe? Probably Wirtz for me. 3-5-2 or 3-4-3. Depends on the personnel, but I'd lean towards 3-4-3. Captain Elise? I'm not against that. I'm not against that at all. I bought someone for a -4 hit. Not ideal, but yeah, I would have had 10 players without it. Yeah, Ratchet, I can explain later what happened there, but don't worry. I did answer your question in the end. De Ketelaere over Koundé. Do you trust Barca defense? No, I don't. And I think Atalanta score. They're one of the best sides in Europe. But yeah, I would favour De Ketelaere over Koundé. The thing with the Frenchman is he can get ball recoveries. So we're literally less than a minute away. Lock in your teams. Make sure the players that you want are in your starting 11 because you can't make substitutions in matchday 8, and lock in your captain. I've got Florian Wirtz here with Elise, Rafinha and Gittins in the midfield, Haaland, Alvarez and Mbappe up front. All of them are captainable. I think the least appealing would be Gittins, and Grimaldo and Frimpong at the back look very enticing. And then Sommer in goal and Kim Min-jae to complete the starting 11. I've got Kimmich on the bench. The rest are benched themselves in Di Gregorio, Cubarsí and Raul Asensio. With the league phase almost over, do you prefer the old or new format and why? Well, I do think a lot is kind of influenced by how well a player's, well, should I say, a fan's club is doing. So people who support Arsenal or Liverpool might like the new format because they're doing well this season, but yeah, I don't know, there's pros and cons to it. I like it more than I originally thought I would, but there are some issues, I think, and there's less jeopardy in Matchday 8 than probably what UEFA were expecting. I went wildcard in the end. Good luck, Richard Millerchip. We are locked indeed. Let's see if I end up regretting not wildcarding. If Harry Kane goes big, he's going to score. I just hope he keeps quiet. Back in Matchday 1, I had him as my captain. He just went off massively. So we'll see how badly that goes. I've also got Wirtz as my captain. But like I said before, my defensive line essentially matches the Limitless or wildcard in my opinion. I would have gone for that sort of back line. The midfield and forward line is a little bit different. Gittins is maybe the weak link. And you could say Kane over Alvarez is a massive upgrade. But apart from that, I'm very happy with this squad. So hopefully it gets the points and the wildcard will be well used later in the season. Even if you're on your way out, drop a like. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And subscribe. Thank you to those that have done so already. Hit that notification bell as well if you don't want to miss a single UCL Fantasy or FPL upload. The game's obviously going on now. Oh, let's see, what can I do here? Oh yeah, I want to put the Arsenal game on, but it's going to be a bit chaotic with my setup right now. I might do that whilst I, answer some questions a bit like casually, because now we can relax. The chaotic deadline that we all feared and anticipated is over. It looks so weird seeing everyone play at the same time. It's like a Champions League final. Which two to start? Gabriel, Gvardiol, Kun and Schlotterbeck, thanks. I mean, I know the deadline's passed, but I would have gone for Gvardiol and Gabriel. Wirtz or Rafinha captain? Wirtz for me. Best captain I have Kane, Haaland, Wirtz. Kane, which I've been very consistent about all stream. Koundé for Grimaldo and Frimpong? Yes. I like that transfer. My bench was Kelleher, Athekami, Sabi and Talbi. Yeah, that's a cheap bench. Wildcard, put all your budget in that starting 11. Makes sense. Should I let go of Gittins for Foden for a hit? Well, that's been covered already, mate. Dean out, Kim in for a -4. Not sure if I would have done that. I would have kept Luka Dean, I think. Good luck as well. KYZZ. Good luck, Ryan, as well. Kazi also says Lewandowski out for Haaland or Kane for a hit. No. I'd keep Lewandowski despite the tough fixture. Surely we're going to get an early goal here, right? So I've got all the scorelines here in front of me, but I'd preferably see a game. I don't want to miss Arsenal. So whilst the stream is going on, I'm going to turn on another computer and have the game on in the background and just answer some last questions and stuff if possible. And hopefully I can fix the technical issues that have plagued me today because it has been an absolute nightmare. So let's see if I can... Can I do this? I can do this, but it's going to be a bit awkward, I think, for those watching because I'm going to be moving stuff about. Good luck to all managers. Yes, definitely. Hey, Dylan, I captain Kane. I would have done that myself. I really hope that's not the case. Arthur says, I love my network. I have Mbappe on my bench and a 4 million Club Brugge defender starting instead. Oh. Well, look, if you picked a budget player who's not playing at all, automatic subs could bail you out here. So if that player doesn't feature, the 4 million Brugge defender, then Mbappe will come on for him as long as it's an eligible formation. So hopefully that happens for you, Arthur, but I can't guarantee you anything. When will you use your wildcard in the playoff? Not necessarily, because you've got unlimited transfers in Matchday 9. And in Matchday 10, you get 2 free transfers. Maybe if I want to go all in for that final matchday of the knockout playoff rounds. But I think the most likely scenario is I'll use it later in the competition and I can be more aggressive. I can go for more punts in that sort of position. So yeah, I can see myself using it in the knockout stages, to be honest. Thank you, Mad Dan. Ryan says, I did Upamecano and Salah to Grimaldo and Elise. Yeah, good moves on paper. I hope it works out for you. Yeah, that Bayer Leverkusen clean sheet could be massive for me and you this week. I didn't have time to sub in Musiala and Frimpong. Well, Musiala was benched Frimpong will be a bit gutting because he's starting the game and his ceiling is quite high on paper. I don't want to jinx him though. But yeah. Yeah, Musiala is on the bench, so that might be a blessing in disguise for you. City out. Will made all 19 Premier League clubs happy with 115 recents. I don't think that'll happen. Villa have scored already. Is it Ollie Watkins? And Inter with a penalty already. Oh, this is interesting. I mean, let the fun begin. 18 matches and we're going to get... Well, we've got a goal already. So yeah, let me know who scored for Villa. Atletico also scored. Hopefully it's Alvarez. Oh my god, this is chaotic. Goals flying around. Yeah, it was destined to happen, right? Can I get the bloody Arsenal game on? Yeah, just stay tuned. I'm not like ignoring you and looking away from the camera. I just have to set this up so I can actually get the game on. Bloody hell. This is annoying. Don't worry, you'll never see this again in the UCL Fantasy Deadline stream, I think. It's just it's a one-off. But yeah, I want to get Arsenal on and you lot can update me on the other games, you know? Have I just effed things up? No. Okay. Alvarez assist. So, and Lautaro scored the penalty. Yeah, let's go, Argentina. Argentina going strong. Decent start for Alawas. Wow, Villa 2-0 already. Rodgers with the goal. I think I was asked about Rodgers earlier, and I did recommend starting him. Just saying. Ramsey got the first one as well. Come on, Ollie Watkins. Come to Arsenal, yeah? Yeah. People will say I'm starving. That's what a C fan I know said about the Ollie Watkins rumours. Let's see if I can... Oh my god, this is an absolute chaos. I'm literally connecting things to USB hubs and trying to get my keyboard ready to activate my other PC. But yeah, I appreciate those that are telling me what's happening, because right now I'm in the dark. I'm like Batman in The Dark Knight Rises. He's trying to get out of the cave and it's not bloody happening. Fuck off, come on. I can't even connect the USB port at this point. Jesus, I'm stupid. And yeah, before I go to your other questions, let's do a... just a little kind of prompt. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the stream and hit that notification bell so you never miss a single FPL or UCL Fantasy stream or video. You know the drill. And my Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, all of that stuff is in the description. So yeah, goals are flying in. There's probably even more as we're speaking. Oh Jesus, how am I going to do this? Oh my god, life is very complicated sometimes, isn't it? Wallahi. What am I saying? Let me take this out then. Would that be safe? Okay, I need to take out my PS5 cable to then connect the other one. This is an absolute nightmare. Yeah. All right. All right. Trying to get the Arsenal game on, even though it's not the most interesting game in the world, you know? Let me also get my mouse. Yeah. People are just probably thinking, what the fuck is happening here? Well, this is the content you sign up for, isn't it? We did hit our Super Chat goal. In fact, we smashed it out of the ballpark. So you're seeing a different side to the idiot called Dylan. Yeah. All right, so finally I've made a bit of progress. But yeah, I'm literally wrestling with my own environment here. So give me a bloody second, yeah? I want to get this Arsenal game up. Hopefully we get some goals. Oh my god, my password isn't working. But yeah, don't worry, I'm back. Look, we're back to my ugly mug. Oh, don't do this now. Yeah. All right, and let's end this dumb poll as well. I better not see something like, oh, Sparta have scored, mum. PSG have scored as well. Barcola. Leo have scored. Don't say Jonathan David. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm not trying to flex my PS5, but that's a good point. I mean, I can see why you think that, but no. It has been a while since it was released. I actually got it when it was, you know, first out. After a lot of attempts. Let me put it that way. Oh my god. Yeah. Let's see if I can get the Arsenal game on. Yeah. I've got to mute this as well. Oh my god, get out. Oh my god, okay. I'm almost there. I can watch the game in the background and also look at the camera and talk to you as well. Arsenal, where are you? They're the only team I care about, unfortunately. Stupid life decision, you could say. But anyway, I've made my bed. Alright, so hopefully it doesn't cause issues in the stream. But yeah, I've got Arsenal up. And there we go. Let's go Barcola. Wow, there's someone with Barcola in the chat. Fair play. So yeah, thank you, Don Brew, for the update. The league phase table will be like Tetris, up and down in 90 minutes. That's a good point. Yeah. Rodgers 2 goals already. Fucking hell. Wow. Yeah, he's starting, but hopefully it's not a 20-point swing. Yeah, I that's not the case for you either. My goalkeeper's already on a minus points for goal conceded. That's pretty bad, man. That's pretty bad. Is that Schmeichel? Yeah. How have 4 teams scored in the first 5 minutes? It's kind of destined, wasn't it, with this bloody format? Whoever got Simeone in, you're an oracle. Yeah, someone did mention him, didn't they? Fair play. I was never going to recommend that. Buying goal. Don't say Harry Kane. And it is, isn't it? Kimmich assist, and he's on my bench. Amazing. Amazing, mama. That's why sometimes you don't need to take hits and stuff. Come on, Gittins, I swear. Come on, give me something, because otherwise I'm going to regret that big time. Ah, Jesus. Yeah, great. I have Barcola and Rodgers. Nice one. Unfortunately, my budget midfielder is on my bench, and he got an assist. Just Parky says, my team, Alvarez, Kane, Captain, Gittins, Wirtz, Rafinha, Kimmich, Schlotterbeck, Gabriel, Kim Min-jae, Grimaldo, Magnan, was going to bring in Haaland, but did not have cash. Left it too long monitoring spammers. I appreciate that, and I do apologize if that prevented you from making your necessary transfers, but yeah, hopefully it ends up being a blessing in disguise. Started Inacio over Schlotterbeck since Sporting were up there in the top expected clean sheet list, and they played Bologna, who've scored only 3 goals in UCL this season, and 2 of them have come against Dortmund. That's a good summary. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of very narrow calls here that could go either way. But yeah, a decent start, I guess, in terms of the goals. UCL Fantasy points-wise, though, I've only got an Alvarez assist, but I was considering selling him to Kane for that -4. So at the moment, it's not going too shabby. Gittins, get me something, mate. Wait, Kimmich hasn't got the assist here. Haha, yes, come on. Sorry, I celebrate when players on my bench don't get a goal or assist, like with Semenyo at the weekend. And guess what happened? In the last bloody minute, he scores an absolutely unnecessary goal, but it was a great finish, to be fair to him. But yeah, it looks like Kimmich hasn't been awarded the assist. Long may it continue. Ama, papa, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I've got the Arsenal game on in the background. I mean, there was a missed chance, I think, by Trossard at some stage, but not much has happened. Not really a surprise. Girona, nothing to play for. And the Gunners are in a commanding position in the Champions League phase table. Yeah, Thomas Muller in 2025. Yeah, Muller goal, Kimmich assist. So yeah, appreciate everyone who gave the updates because I can't watch all of them at the same time. Oh shit, Girona are in. Come on, Neto. Yeah, it's not even a save, but we'll count that. Danjuma had a deflected shot. It's all good, says Twisted Parky. Kimmich on your bench. Yeah, but he's not got the assist, mate, does he? Do I have to refresh? Nah, surely not. Alvarez, his points were updated already. I don't think Kimmich got the assist. No, God, come on, man. Kimmich has been useless for me as well. And Gittins is about time he does something, man. Let's actually break it down. Let's go to Gittins, yeah? So, Matchday 1, 15 points, fair enough. You know, differential, up-and-coming talent, no one knows about. You know, people have got their eye on him. Matchday 2, Dortmund wins 7-1. He wins 1 penalty and gets 4 points. Then on my Limitless in Matchday 3, I get rid of Gittins and he scores. And then start him in Matchday 4, blank. Matchday 5, I think I started him to be fair, so well done. But then Matchday 6 and 7, blank, blank. So he has been very underwhelming for me. Did I even have him in Matchday 6? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, so against Dynamo, that's the only time he's returned for me. Pretty well anyway. Dylan cracking me up as he tweaks the tech in the Batcave. It's funny you say that. I mean, I have to open the door. Oh! Calafiori again! Oh, it's offside, right? It's offside. Yeah, it's offside. I celebrated like an idiot. Oh, Calafiori, man. Stay fit, yeah? Yeah, back to the bloody topic. I actually have a Batman logo in my my Batcave. I'm switching between 4 games at once on my laptop. I would, but because I'm streaming still like an idiot, I'm still here. Monaco Red. Yes, come on, summer clean sheet. No, I've just jinxed it, haven't I? Griezmann goal, fair play to those that have him. I've only got Alvarez, but at least he got an assist. Dylan, you've got to do a live stream while watching a match. It will be gold. I've been told that many times by some friends of mine. But yeah, the one thing I don't like about it is, you know, if I'm watching it in not a legal manner, no, that's not a way to say it. I don't want to get cancelled. But basically, if people are ahead of me, yeah, they're going to like spoil stuff. But if it's an Arsenal game, I'll still probably go wild in most of the games. Best theme tune in football, Champions League always. Yeah, but they have made a bit of a woke version, if you can say that, Sean Dash style. I do prefer the original, but I get your drift. I think you're all right. Nice one, EUFV. A few Rodgers owners in the house. should I start Rodgers or Kluivert this weekend? I'd say Rodgers because Wolves will be without Joao Gomez, and I think Rodgers could really exploit that. But having said that, Kluivert is in brilliant form. But the way I see it, I think he'll blank against Liverpool and then haul big against one of Southampton or Wolves, maybe even both. But Kluivert isn't going to score or assist in every single game, of course. Did he ever go through with a transfer and then the player gets injured in the warm-up? I think it's happened to me before, but I can't remember. Odegaard has just had a shot go wide and very well over. Odegaard's a brilliant player, but sometimes when he gets to the final third, his brain is like, I don't know what happens to him. Dylan, remember karma. It might hit you this weekend. What's this in relation to? Simeone assist. Jimenez scoring for Feyenoord as well. So let's go 2-0 up, yeah. Griezmann and, Griezmann with the goal and Alvarez with the assist. Minus 16 points for bringing in Haaland, Llorente, Wirtz, Frimpong, Grimaldo, Kane. Manual wildcard to lose top 800 spot is so on. Yeah, I mean, I've taken a -4 hit, which I'm not too pleased about, but a -16 is quite wild, actually. Hopefully it goes well for you, Alex. And so far, no issues being caused by, having the game on as well. But basically, guaranteed Inter clean sheet already. Well, I thought that when Lille went down to 10 men and then Alisson conceded shortly afterwards, but I get you. Well, you should live stream a match. It will probably happen at some stage, but no promises. I was thinking about the reaction stream on Sunday because I couldn't do it on Saturday. So I could have done it just before the United game and then stream during that match. And I would have had it on, obviously, and maybe react to it. Dylan's dodgy stick exposed. I actually don't have a dodgy stick. That's all I'm saying. No, I forgot to do the first team to score in predictions apart from Villa. You scared me myself. I've done that, haven't I? Yeah, so how are these looking right now? So, Inter 1-0, 24 points. I know it's 1-0. I'm saying 1-0 as in, I predicted it. So right now I've got 24 points for that. I did go for Celtic to score, but I've got 7 points from the Villa game. The rest are goalless, so we'll see how that goes on. Arsenal 2-0 might let me down, actually. And I originally went for 2-1. Come on, hopefully we get some goals in the house. But yeah, that Calafiori goal was obviously offside, but I was reacting to it late. So yeah. Let's see. Simeone assist, that guy who added Simeone is actually coasting. Yeah, but... no, yeah, it was offside, the goal line technology. It wasn't blatantly offside. No, it was kind of blatant, but... Pavle did off. Ever since I said little add it. Whatever. Well done, Kimmich. Piss off. And Gittins is doing nothing, isn't he? Yeah, we'll see if he gets the... Who got the assist for Garassi? Hopefully, come on. Gittins, do something, you twat. 3 goals being scored now. Yeah. I forgot to do this too. Yeah, I've set these from ages ago. Then I just tweaked them last minute after seeing the lineups. Dortmund goal. Yeah, I think that was Garassi. Hopefully we get an assist for Gittins. But I'm just speaking to a brick wall here. Good to see you. Watching this thriller match on what? Okay, that's probably spam, isn't it? Or, I don't know. Just pause with the name. I'm not going to read that out. Benfica goal. Yeah, that was Pavlidis again. Martinez scoring. He's made it 2-0, so losing a few points on my predictor. I remember back in the day when Ajax had that crazy season, I had David Neres and he got injured in the warm-up. So Kasper Dolberg started instead. Good old days with that crazy Ajax stream run. Wow, that's a throwback. I just can't remember the last time that's happened to me with someone injured in the warm-up. I think it's happened in FPL. My luck is typically better in UCL Fantasy, but we'll wait and see if that actually pays off this season. Adeyemi with the assist. Yes, that's what I mean. I'm not going to sell Mbappe, Alvarez, or Haaland for Garassi, but I had my reasons for selling him in the first place. He was an injury out for Matchday 5, I think it was, if not Matchday 6. But he came off the bench and scored and outscored my replacement in Jonathan David, so that went tits up as usual. Marino's just slipped up whilst having a shot, and Girona has dealt with... Yeah, they've dealt with the situation here. So many goals and so many one-pointers. Love it. No. But maybe what it means is... it's early days, right? But it could be a misuse of the wildcard limitless or just taking massive hits for no reason. But in my case, I've bought in Sommer. I've bought in Elise, which meant I bench Kimmich, so that's not looking too great so far. And the other transfer is Frimpong, so we'll see how that turns out. But not too shabby at the moment, but basically Kimmich has outscored most of my players already. So we'll see how that goes. But it's been a pleasure talking to you. If you want to see a watch-along, especially for an Arsenal game where the passions and stuff will be up there, you'll probably see stuff that gets me cancelled very quickly, then let me know in the live chat and smash the like button of this video. Subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. I've said it before. Let's not go into that all over again. But keep your eyes peeled for UCL Fantasy and FPL content. There is the best wildcard team for Double Game Week 24 available for members and patrons already. And a massive shout out goes to them and the Super Chatters. Dynamo Zagreb goal. I did go for AC Milan to score first and for them to win 2-1. But as I mentioned before, I thought AC Milan would concede. So that's happened already. Are Bournemouth the most informed team right now? In the Premier League, arguably, they are unbeaten in 11 or 12 games, which is a club record. They just beat Newcastle 4-1. They beat Forest 5-0. So yeah, they have to be the most informed team. PSG 2, and why is Leverkusen still not scoring? Well, it's early days, right? It's 18 minutes, but slightly concerning for Wirtz captainers. I've got a double up in the defence. As long as they keep the clean sheet, I'll be happy. 1 goal by Wirtz will be fine. But yeah, I just hope the likes of Kane and all these other template captains don't go off massively. Barcola on fire, 2 returns. Yeah, and his assist against City was amazing. He's another one I wouldn't mind in my in Arsenal anyway. Zagreb goal, Dylan Jinx Sommer. No, but Zagreb are playing AC Milan, mate. Inter Milan are playing Monaco, went down to 10 men, so check your pulse, yeah? Nice. Dembele, says John Lewis. Wow, another goal by him. AC Milan throwing it away. I mean, they've got so much pedigree in this competition, but they have been well off it in the last couple of years. My predictions today were Villa 2, Celtic 0. I'm on for 2-1. Barca 2, Atalanta 2. Bayern Munich 6, Slovan 0. Brest 0, Real Madrid 2. Dynamo 1, AC Milan 2. Dortmund 1, Shakhtar 1. Yeah, I think Shakhtar could get a result or score a goal at least, but I need everything I can get with Gittins. Yeah, as I mentioned before, Badraz, I can't remember, but I think it has happened in FPL before. I just can't remember exactly which player. I need to do some digging. I think I probably mentioned it in a WhatsApp chat with someone, so if I did, I can find it quite easily there, but I'd have to have a look. Maybe in the next FPL deadline stream, I can have a look. But thank you to everyone for tuning in for the most chaotic deadline stream of the season, not just for UCL Fantasy, but also FPL. Take care, enjoy the football. There's a lot of matches going on. You need so many monitors and TVs and screens to watch all of it, but just take it easy, yeah? Calma, calma, because ultimately it's impossible to see everything. You're not an octopus, are you? If you can even say that. Or a spider. Who gives a crap? Enjoy the football, like I said. Keep your eyes peeled for the more UCL Fantasy and FPL content. I'm being distracted by Arsenal as we speak. That's not a good thing. Yeah, supporting Arsenal maybe not the best life choice. I'll see you very soon. Take care, and thank you very much for all your support.